of our final day. Welcome to the final day of our IUL Challenge. We're excited to have all of you with us. We're excited to jump in and cover as much as we can before we turn it over to our final keynote presenter
and
today.
Welcome everybody coming in.
Yeah,
everybody coming in. Good
welcome
morning.
Everybody
Hope
coming
you're having
in.
a good day.
It's good to see you. Glad to have you with us. We're excited to be with you. My name is Greg Dukwitz. We've got Aaron Andrew here. I'm excited. I've been with the company for a very long time. It was 2007 was when I started as like an audio engineer. I followed Doug around. I recorded everything Doug said, and I actually learned from it. It was pretty wild. So I learned a lot from what Doug and Aaron and Emron had to say.
And Greg's been with us for a long time. He's met with clients for many years.
Yep.
He's been in the trench. He's been in like every part of the process, right, Greg?
Really enjoyed it. Loved working with these guys. Loved learning all this stuff and doing it. Now, Aaron is, of course, Doug's son. He's co-author of the book, The Laser Fund. He loves this stuff, and I really want to invite you guys to listen closely to everything that Aaron has to say, because Aaron works with a lot of high net worth clients. He's really, really good at understanding this stuff. He was born with a calculator in his hand, pretty much. He just loves running the numbers. He loves the ledgers, and insurance companies come to him to know how to design their products, how to build their products. He's given a lot of advice to different insurance companies, and of course, they come to our firm largely because of Aaron to say, okay, here's our product. What do you guys think about the product? And Aaron's our foremost member in terms of telling them, yeah, this is good. This needs to be looked at. Here's the concern here, and he's really, really good with this kind of stuff. So listen to what he has to say, and let's jump into our general session.
Let's get into it. So we got a bunch of things that we're going to get into today.
Yep.
But what we're going to talk about today, you guys, is IUL objections.
Yes, this is so good. So we're going to talk about IUL objections, and this will get into a little bit of case design, right? We only have a certain amount of time here, but we're going to get into some case design and how you design cases. And
when you join Pro, that's what we do every week.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Every week we are designing cases with you. You submit a case, we run an illustration, we help you understand the illustration, the fees, the design, when to go from increasing to level, which index accounts to choose. We get into all that.
GLP, TAMRA, Target, what all those different numbers mean and how they relate to the death benefit and how they relate to max funded structure. So it's really, really good stuff. So this will lead into some of that language, and we're going to talk more about that. But this is one of my favorite subjects, you guys, because how many of you can put it in the chat, how many of you have had experiences where you go online and you read something negative that someone says online? Has that ever happened to any of you? You read something negative online, and what might that be? It could be the fees, it could be the costs, it could be all kinds of things.
Yeah,
right,
like
Aaron?
with IUL objections, so we call these IUL objections, like all the naysayers and the people that talk negatively about, this strategy. So go ahead and put in the chat, you guys, what are some of the objections you come across? What are some of the most common objections you come across with IUL?
Yeah.
What do you guys hear online or from clients or from things? Go ahead and put in there, what are some of the biggest objections that you come across when pitching IUL or what people read online.
So looking at the chat, some of the most common ones that we see are like fees and costs. That's probably the biggest one, right?
Everyone always says that one right away.
We did in our podcast, we did a segment on like Dave Ramsey, who criticizes the fees and costs and how as you get further on into an IUL, that the cost and fees are going to make the policy implode, right?
They're all going to implode. He says they're all going to implode.
Which is funny because we just looked at a matrix where it showed an internal rate of return that was amazing, with the cost being 0.8%. 0.8% is so good. So that's a very common one.
And we have on our YouTube channel, for example, all sorts of policies we show. I have clients that have been around for a long time, and the cost is low. You got to design it right, though. You got to design it correctly.
Yeah. Another thing we get commonly is like, the rate of return it's not gonna actually do what it's supposed to do, right? And we actually have a segment on YouTube that's called "Does IUL Work?" Right?
Yeah. If you go to our YouTube channel, go to 3-Dimensional Wealth on YouTube, go to Does IUL Work series, and we show policies that have been around a long time and show what the cost is now, how they performed, and stuff like that.
Actual statements, right? Now, so today, what we're going to do is we're going to pick on somebody, Ryan something, St. Andrew or something.
Ryan St. Andrew.
No relation to this
Yeah,
Andrew.
This guy had no relationship to us. His last name happens to be our same last name, but it's no relationship at all. But we're picking on him because a lot of times he used to post a lot, and when we would, have advertised for you guys to come into this event, he would post all these negative things about IUL. So we're like, we're going to use this.
Yeah, okay.
This is very common. These are some of the common things that you guys put in the chat.
Yes.
Of what are the, some of the issues and stuff.
Yep.
So if you see on the screen here, you see what we're showing here.
By the way, you don't have to read it. We're going to go through each of these sentences in detail. So don't worry if you can't read this.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about, he goes about number 1 and number 2, number 3, all these different issues. Now, again, when we show it, he doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. So we're going to try to, help him a little bit.
Yes.
We're going to try to help him out.
We're going to interpret. We're going to interpret naysayer language, okay?
But this session is going to help you guys to how to understand, to defend with pride IUL.
Yes, to be the authority on this subject, to explain all this kind of stuff to your clients.
Instead of someone saying, oh, IUL is too expensive, it's like, well, show me. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Because you can have the proof. You can have the, data and the know-how, how to show clients. Instead of someone just saying something like Dave Ramsey's like, well, what do you mean by that? Show me. Show me what you mean.
Let's get
because
into it.
I can show you that he is wrong.
Right.
I can show you that he is wrong here, here, and here.
Yes.
So you know and you have the data versus someone just saying something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's get into the first one, Greg.
Let's jump right in, Aaron. Number 1, not an investment, life insurance, death benefit. So in red, by the way, is his kind of exact language. So we're leaving it untouched, and then we will interpret for you if you're not quite clear what that means. But number 1, not an investment, life insurance / death benefit. What does this mean, Aaron, and what do we think about this one?
Well, you guys, in this case, this is the first time the only place we really agree with him. Okay, so
not in the way he's saying, but yes, we agree. Yeah.
So life insurance policies, this is our writing in the black there.
Yeah.
Life insurance policies are not investments and accordingly should not be purchased as an investment.
Yes.
We actually put this in a lot of our PowerPoint and in a lot of our presentations, you guys.
Client-facing presentations, it's important.
Yeah, we're talking about how, life insurance, you guys, we want to be careful. When you start to get in this business, those of you that are new, you want to use the right vocabulary. Don't use the word investment. Right. You need to use the words like cash value growth, access money tax-free via loans. You talk about, the death benefit, the cash value, the surrender value. You don't use the words investment and deposit. Those are words you don't use in our industry, of course, because it's not an investment, you guys.
Yeah, and we want to ask you that. Yeah, that's the question. Why do we not use the word investment? What comes along with the word investment, which would be a reason we wouldn't want to use the word investment, right? What is an investment? An investment is what? What is it that we don't want it to be? Because it's not, we don't, so common questions that common answers we're going to get are taxes, right?
So what is it that all investments have? You guys are saying it, it's taxes.
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 Yes.
So investments are taxed. You guys, life insurance is not taxed because it's not an investment.
And we don't ever want it to be.
So I'm proud. I'm proud that life insurance is not an investment. Okay?
Yes.
Don't focus on what it is. Focus on what it does, you guys.
Right.
All right. Life insurance is tax-free because it's not an investment. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like this baking soda. Doug says, hey, what are the uses for baking soda? And people immediately, I think, I clean car batteries with baking soda.
Yeah.
So, I clean this. It gets out laundry stains, blah, 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 blah.
Laundry, I've used it in the dishwasher. Instead of using chemical things, I put it in the dishwasher and it cleans the dishes.
Yeah, and then finally someone goes, oh yeah, it's also good for baking. It's in the name, baking soda.
Yeah.
Life insurance is good for your life, right? It's the death benefit, but focus on what it does. Don't focus on a title. Focus on how it helps someone and what it actually does for someone.
Okay, you guys, so that's first thing. Let's go to the next objection.
All right.
All permanent life insurance. This is his writing again,
yes,
in red.
Right.
All permanent life insurance, you pay for 2 things. Death benefit plus cash value. But you only receive, he doesn't really finish it, but you only receive one is what he means, okay?
This is one of the most common tropes that you guys will come across. And if you learn one thing from this session, this is probably the most important thing that we want to teach you. You get this all the time. You put all this money in and you have cash value and then you have death benefit, but then when you die, they take your cash value and they only give you the death benefit. This is such a fundamental misunderstanding of how all of this works, and we're going to explain why, but this is so important to understand the relationship between cash value and death benefit and why this comment is just so wrong-headed, and we'll kind of explain why. So, Aaron, go ahead.
What is insurance, you guys? This is very important. So, all right, How are fees on a life insurance policy determined? This is one of the biggest insights we get, so pay attention, take notes. Let's look at this. All right. So you talk about insurance company's risk plus your risk or your self-insurance, cash value, equals the total risk or death benefit. This is where a lot of you get confused with increasing death benefit versus level and things like that. I don't care if it's increasing or level. What we want to look at is what's the total amount of insurance risk versus your cash value. We call it the net amount at risk. Okay, so let's just do this right here. So what we're going to look at is I already wrote on this, kind of saved it on here. So I'm going to use an example of 500,000. We're going to put in 100,000 a year for 5 years on a 60-year-old, okay? So right now, and by the way, if you read our book, I think it's on page like 98 or something like that, or 90, we talk about one of the laws changing with COVID back in the beginning of 2021, January 1st, 2021.
That's right,
One of the laws changed that says that you can get away with even less insurance. You guys, this is a great time to be selling IUL because about 20 to 40% cheaper are the policies now with that law that changed back in January 1st of 2021, okay? All right, let's get into this though. Okay, let's use an example of putting in 500 grand. So we're going to put in $500,000 total, $100,000 a year for 5 years to comply with TAMRA.
Okay.
So in this example, our death benefit required is, I'm just going to put it up here, is going to be, on this example, let's just put on a 60-year-old about, let's just put $1 million. Okay. Now it's $1 million
death benefit. Okay, everybody got that? It's $1 million the death benefit we're using in this example.
It might be like, actually, let's just do $1 million. It would be like 1.1 million, 1 million to 1.1. Okay. Back in the day, it used to be 1.3.
Yeah.
Before that law changed, you guys, you had to buy 1.3. So you're saying, I want to put in 500 grand. What's my minimum insurance is $1 million, okay?
Yeah, and we're just rounding the numbers because we're trying to teach you a principle, right?
So if we put in, let's say you put in 100 grand of premium. So you got 100,000 in cash value. So I'm going to put CV for cash value, guys. So you put in 100,000. Well, how much is the insurance company's risk then that they are insuring you for technically? It's 900 grand. So you guys, if you have $1 million death benefit, you got 100,000 of cash value, the difference is 900 grand. You've got $900,000 of insurance risk that you are transferring to the insurance company. If you die that day, the insurance company is going to pay your family $1 million of total death benefit. Okay.
And this is important because even at this early stage, are you paying fully for $1 million of life insurance? No, you're paying for the risk corridor, right? Your cost of insurance is based on 900,000, not the full million. Does that make sense?
900,000
because of the million, 100,000 is your own money. Does this make sense, you guys? Now we're going to see what happens as we go forward. It'll be even more prevalent.
Okay, I'm just going to write this down so you guys don't forget.
Yeah.
So cash value is your own. So let's say we put in more money. Now let's put in another 100,000 the second year, in the third year, in the fourth year. Let's get to 400 grand.
Okay.
So you're in the fourth year. You've put in 400,000. Yeah, you've had some fees come out, but your account's probably worth 380 to 410 depending on the company.
Yeah, right.
All right, but let's just say it's 400,000 you've got in there. So what's the difference between $1 million and 400,000 now?
600,000.
So the insurance company, like your policy, if you pass away, you still only get $1 million.
Yep.
And some of you that are taught that levels the devil is not the case, all right?
Yeah.
So some of you are taught that levels the devil, you should always do increasing. That's not the case. Some cases are increasing, some cases are going to be level.
Right.
You learn that in Pro. When you join Pro, we run cases in case design. We help you understand when to use level, when to use increasing.
Yeah.
Okay?
So now think about even just this snapshot, right? How much more interest are you earning on this snapshot versus this previous one that Aaron just did?
Let's use 10%. If you earn 10% in this example, what are you earning 10% on, Greg?
400,000, right? So before, when you only had 100,000 in there, you had 100,000 trying to earn interest. Let's say it was 10%.
To keep it simple.
You're earning $10,000 to help pay for the cost of the policy, right? Well, you were earning interest on 100,000, trying to pay for cost on a $900,000 policy, right? Because even though the policy is $1 million, some of that's your own money. So now you have 400,000 earning interest, paying for less cost of insurance. Now you're getting older and all that kind of stuff, but that is the principle that you need to understand is as you put money into these policies, you have more and more money earning interest, paying for less and less insurance.
You guys,
okay?
You'll see this
Super important.
You'll see this in an illustration in a second. What Greg just went over, it's so key.
Yeah.
So eventually, you guys, You get the full 500 grand in there now.
Okay.
And let's say it grows. Let's say you got 500,000, and like Greg was just saying, you're earning 10%. That's 50 grand. You have it growing. So say eventually this gets up to $900,000.
Okay. Right.
Well, the difference is how much?
$1 million.
100,000.
Yep. So $100,000 is now your new risk corridor.
So you guys, you might be older. You might be like 70, 75.
Yep.
You might be 70 or 75 now. So insurance is more expensive as you get older.
Correct.
But we're only paying for 100 grand of insurance risk. 900 grand is your own money. So the difference between the two is your net amount at risk. We call it net amount at risk, okay? Now, if that $900,000 grows higher, let's say it grows to 1.2 million, Greg.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen to the death benefit?
The death benefit by law must stay a certain risk corridor ahead of your cash value.
Okay. Oh, whoops, not 1 point. Sorry, I'm going to keep this at 100 grand. I just messed up there.
Yeah.
So 100 grand there. So the total is going to be about 1.3. So your death benefit always has to be a little bit higher than your cash value, like Greg just said.
Yep.
So in this example, your cash value, you'll see this. Running an illustration.
Yep.
You'll see your cash value, your death benefit will have to grow. If you started with a level death benefit, and you just put in, if it's maximum funded, you'll see your death benefit has to go up with the cash value to keep that corridor there, to have this still be classified as life insurance.
And that happens by the automatically, by the way. Yeah,
automatically.
You don't have to worry about that. So
okay. So this is really key to understand.
So important, you guys.
Because they're like, oh, they rip you off, and they only give you 1.3 million when you die, and they keep your 1.2
million. And you guys, it's
not
so
happening.
Okay. Let me give you an example to mentally understand why this is so backwards. Okay, ready? Let's say you have 1.2 million in a mutual fund, right? Like in the stock market.
Yeah.
And you pass away, Aaron. How much do you leave behind in that mutual fund stock market?
1.2 million.
1.2 million. Let's say you have 1.2 million cash in the bank. How much do you leave behind when you pass away?
1.2 million.
1.2 million. And then here the naysayers of the world come and say, well, when you have 1.2 million in a life insurance contract and you pass away, you only leave behind 1.3 million. Wait a minute, let me check my abacus. Something's wrong, right? But think about what they're saying. It always blossoms to a higher amount.
Yeah.
Unlike savings account, investment accounts, IRAs. In fact, IRAs have tax, right?
Tax on them.
So you got an inheritance tax, right?
More.
But it always blossoms to a higher amount, and somehow that's a bad thing. Are you guys understanding how this works? You're self-insuring yourself to get the cost and the fees low so that it can perform well. That's the whole reason. If we could have the insurance at zero, that would be cool, because if you had 1.2 million in cash value and your death benefit was 1.2 million, what would that mean about the fees? They'd essentially be zero, right?
Zero.
We're going to show that actually a little bit later on.
Yeah, we'll show that in a second. So this gives you guys kind of an idea of understanding how, the life insurance works, to understand, the net amount at risk, okay? So that gives you kind of a taste there. Let's go to the next area now. That's one of the biggest insights people have, by the way.
Yeah.
So make sure if
important
you didn't understand that, as you join Pro, we'll help you. We'll run illustrations and help you understand this more and more.
Yep.
Let's go to another objection. Any cash value gains that exceed premium paid is income taxable. Whoa. Okay, again, his wording here is a little complex here, but he's talking about whole life a little bit. Well, kind of. But he's saying, okay, any cash value gains. So he's saying any gains, like we just talked about, you earn 10%, it goes up. You're going to have to pay taxes on those gains.
Yeah, is that really accurate, Aaron?
No. No.
Yeah.
I mean, life insurance, technically, you could pay taxes if you do what we call the dumb way.
Right.
So we talk about the smart way, the sad way, the dumb way in our book. So the sad way is by dying. The dumb way is to take out withdrawals or cancel your policy when you would pay taxes.
Yep.
But the smart way, you guys, is you can access your gains tax-free via loans, right, you guys? So via taking loans, you can take out your money tax-free. It's all in the tax code. This is not a tax loophole. It's all legal in the tax code.
Yeah, and these loans are not your average loans. Like, most people hear the word loan and it scares them. You've got to understand, these loans are incredible, right? We talked a little bit about this in the VIP session, but these loans are incredible, because if you have that money borrowed out, it's still in your policy earning an interest rate. That's remarkable. That's one of the most underestimated elements of these policies are the loans, and they're really, really incredible because of that.
Okay, let's talk about the different tax codes that are out there.
Yeah.
They regulate life insurance, okay? So first of all, in this, section 101A is what allows life insurance to be tax-free. Tax-free death benefit, tax-free. Section 101A is one of the tax codes. Another one is 72E that allows it to grow tax-deferred, tax-favored we call it, where the money is growing tax-free or tax-deferred. All right, it's only taxable again if you do what? Take out withdrawals more than your basis, or you cancel or let the policy lapse.
Yeah.
After you've borrowed a bunch. But Section 7702 is the other code that allows you to access money tax-free via the loans, all right? So these sections of the code, 101A, 72E, 7702, regulate the life insurance that allow it to be tax-free. So this is not, he's just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
Okay?
And by the way, there's a phrase if you've watched any of Doug's YouTubes or kind of listened to us for a while, there's a phrase you hear often, as long as it's structured correctly or structured properly, right? This is part of that, okay? The way that we structure these and execute these is important, and the way that we have tax-free, that someone can have tax-free income, is using the proper structure, which is these types of loans and utilizing them in the correct way.
Are we going to 45 after the hour or
Oh yeah, 45.
Okay, make sure we're good there.
That's right.
Okay, looking at this, let's go to objection number 4 that he talks about. Okay, so he says IUL is 2-part life insurance product. All right. Now he's going to start mixing up whole life.
Yeah,
he just said IUL.
This is exciting.
And this is confusing. He says death benefit is annual renewable term.
Okay.
Then he says CB stands for cash value.
Yep.
Cash value is an overflow accumulation account for excess premiums.
Wait, what?
That become because excess premiums or for excess premiums that becomes automatic annual premium loans with 6 to 8% interest when planned premiums do not equal actual cost of premiums, which increase annually.
Oh man,
okay,
that was so bad.
You guys, he's mixing a whole bunch of whole life stuff in here.
Yes, that's a lot of whole life jargon that he's mixing into IUL.
Yeah, so he's just wrong here, but he's totally mixing it up. You guys, you need to understand with an illustration what happens with the fees and expenses, how the fees can go down over time, that the cost of premiums, like the cost of policy, can go down over time with what we just shared. And you're going to see that in an illustration right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So this is actually an increasing death benefit. We don't have the death benefit on this, but let's just show you guys an example of what this looks like, looking at a 45-year-old putting in $20,000 a year for 26 years, up to age 70, putting in 20 grand a year. So increasing death benefit, switching to level eventually. But let's look at the fees and expenses. So everything in IUL is full disclosure.
Yes.
You see exactly what's going on.
Right.
We got 20 grand going in. You've got your premium load, which is a percentage of what you pay. Just as an example, you scroll down here. When you're not paying any more premiums, that fee is not there.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so you got one fee that's called the premium load. Then you got an admin fee that's $10 a month. It goes forever.
Yeah, and that kind of stays the same whether you have a $1 million policy or a $100,000 policy. That admin fee is kind of this little flat fee that's always there.
Now, most companies call this a coverage charge, per 1,000 charge, policy issue charge,
expense charge.
They'll call it something different.
Yeah.
It's basically a per 1,000 charge based upon the size of the policy.
Yeah.
So again, these fees, you guys, all these fees would change if you change the size of the policy, except for that $10 one that Greg just mentioned.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this $1,900 is going to be there for 10 years and then drops off. Okay. So that's, a higher charge for the next 10 years, then drops off and goes away. Now, cost of insurance, this is going to fluctuate. And again, this is an increasing death benefit. So this example, the client has the same amount of insurance coverage on top of their cash value, for all the way while we're funding this.
Right.
So a little different than the example we just mentioned a minute ago.
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
But you'll see how it'll come into play kind of down the road.
So cost of insurance is going up, yes, because you got that insurance still there. But look what happens with, we got to look at the interest. Look at column 7. So the interest is helping to offset the cost. Okay, by the time you get to year 11, your fees go from about $3,400 to about $1,400. But look what's happening. You're earning about 15 grand of interest that's helping to cover those costs. Plus you got 268,000 of cash value in the policy.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And the surrender charge is gone now. You got your surrender value. So let's go down to look at the bottom here. Let's go to age 70.
Okay.
So by age 70, you put all that money in. You scroll over here. This fee is going to go away. That's the premium load. There's the admin fee.
Yep.
Cost of insurance now, okay, comes down, and it comes down here because we lowered it down to a level death benefit.
Right. Yep.
But you see here, your interest is 60, 70 grand. I mean, look at this year when it's $70,000. We're earning like 6% in this example.
Right.
$70,000 of the interest is covering $1,000 of charges.
That's really, really good.
You've got $1.25 million in the cash value. Okay, just think if you had a money manager. A money manager, a managed account with an advisor, 1% of $1.2 million is going to be 12 grand.
12 grand, you guys. So think about that. Just stop and ponder that for a second. 1% of a 1.2 million account, $12,000. That would be a typical fees for like a 1% asset managed account or something. What are our fees?
They are 1/12.
$1,000, right?
$1,000 versus $12,000
in this example. This is amazing.
Oh, what else? The $70,000 of interest you earned in the policy gets added to the policy. Do you pay any taxes on that?
Nope.
No, you don't pay taxes unless you cancel it, surrender it. We take loans against it. It's going to be tax-free. Okay, but that money is all growing tax-free. So if you had that money in the stock market or a brokerage account in an investment, this is not an investment, it's life insurance.
That's correct.
But if it was in an investment, that's 70 grand. You'd pay taxes. You'd probably pay $20,000, $30,000 in taxes, depending on your tax bracket.
Yep, exactly.
Okay?
Yes.
So that's all tax-free. You got 1.2 million. Look how cheap this thing is.
And by the way, this is at the regulated rate, right? It's like 6 point whatever,
6.3%
so this
example.
This is a conservative estimate, you guys. This is conservative, right? This is we feel very comfortable with these numbers.
Okay, so in this example, that helps you understand, hopefully, cost and fees. You need to start to get familiar and understand an illustration.
Mm-hmm.
You need to show the client the fees, by the way. We always show the client the fees and expenses like this. Don't shy away from them. Show them the fees and expenses. Let them know what they're going to have coming up, in the cost and so forth.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the next one. So, number 5, cash value is owned by and belongs to the insurance company unless the policy death benefit is surrendered. So he's saying that the cash value doesn't belong to you, that it belongs to the insurance company, and it only belongs to you if you surrender it.
And somehow what? You can't make decisions or choices or have benefits on it.
It's not yours. It's not yours.
This is such a silly argument because if you think about it, it just doesn't even make sense on the surface level or if you go deep. Like, the life insurance policy does have an owner, right? It literally is just flat out false on its face. So it does have an owner, and the owner is on the application. When you fill out an application, you fill out the owner is the owner, right? Like, that's that simple. This is the equivalent of saying, oh, you have money in the bank. The bank owns your money. That's not true. The bank is the custodian of your money.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
The life insurance company is the custodian of your money, but you own the account, or whoever the insured is, or whoever it is that owns the account. We're actually going to talk about the parties to insurance contract right now.
Yeah, so out of that, let's talk about this. Go ahead and put in the chat. What are the 5 parties to a policy?
Yes, that's a great question.
I want you guys to see, get them all. Let's get them all. Put in the chat, what are the 5 parties to an insurance policy? To get you guys started, of course, it's like, what's one of the first ones? The insured.
The insured, right? The person who's getting insured. Okay, we often will see beneficiaries. One that we'll see pretty early on.
So we got, and you guys are mentioning them here, but we got which ones? We got the owner.
You said the insured, and we said the beneficiary, and then we just talked about this one that's in this comment, which is the owner.
The owner.
Okay, those are the most common ones. What are the other 2 that are a little more?
People always forget them. Put them in the chat, you guys. And in the chat, we got here. We got the other ones that we're missing is the carrier, the insurer.
Yep.
Okay, and then we also have the payor.
The payor, who actually pays on the policy, and often the insured.
Good job, you guys.
The insured and the owner and the payor are often the same person, but they don't have to be, right? They don't have to be. But the insured, the payor, the owner, the beneficiary, and the insurer or the carrier.
Oh, we mentioned the owner. There's an owner. You own it.
Yeah, you own it. So, like, literally, this
going to his
is
question.
Just false. And what's interesting is when you see comments like this should just set the stage that, okay, everything this person is saying now is suspect, right? Because this one objection, this one claim that he's trying to make is just false. It's false on its surface. It's false when you dig a little deeper. It's just completely false. So we should immediately be suspicious of all his other comments.
Now, I didn't write them on the screen, but you guys, we all got them. We all got them.
Yeah.
You know, you got the owner, you got the other 5 parties, you know, the rest of the parties. So yeah, that's really good. Let's go to the next objection here.
Okay.
So number 6, like all UL policies. So okay, so he's saying all of them.
Yeah, all.
Whoa.
Okay.
Policy will lapse. So he's saying all of them will lapse.
All of them will lapse.
When APLs, I think it stands for annual premium loans, is what he's mixing a whole life.
Which is a whole life term. Okay, keep going.
And annual interest charges deplete the cash value, usually between the ages of 75 to 80 or sooner, if projected, okay, current, not guaranteed, interest assumptions are not met. I've never seen one that has.
Oh.
Okay, so this is just crazy. Bottom line is, you know, he's mixing some things up here, but he's basically saying that these policies, like Dave Ramsey says this too, that these policies are going to lapse and run out because the cost gets too high when you get older.
Yeah.
And so forth. You guys just saw an example a minute ago that it was totally fine.
Yep.
We've got on our YouTube channel,
Yes.
under the Does IUL Work series, under the playlist, I show examples of old policies, clients that are old, and the cost is so cheap and they got tons of money in there, tons of interest.
Yes.
You run an illustration and, you know, it's working. It's like, he's thinking that all we're going to ever earn is the guaranteed as well. It's just silly.
Yeah, and
it's like not going to happen.
And his little comment at the very end there, Emran, he just let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
He says, I've never seen one that has. Well, whoops, oops, you just admitted you have no clue how to structure, design, and implement these policies, because these have been around since late 90s, early 2000s, technically late 90s, right? But these have been around for a very long time. They have a very good track record. Aaron just mentioned the YouTube channel, Does IUL Work, where they show actual redacted statements, actual statements of policy performance. So for him to come out and say, actually admit, I've never seen one that has worked. Like that's really bad.
You could be talking about others you haven't seen. It's like you haven't really seen a right one designed then either, too. It's like you just haven't seen it. This is just crazy.
Right.
Well, let's look at the right way.
Yeah.
Okay, so the right way.
Exciting. Let's do it.
Okay, so right here, you guys, we like to compare IUL to a 5-story building.
Yeah.
My brother Emran came up with this kind of as a good example of, you know, this metaphor to kind of show how IUL works.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people misunderstand it, you know, how it works. So basically, if you bought a 5-story apartment building, how are you going to make money, you know, from this building? You're going to want to rent out not just 1 or 2 floors. You're going to want to rent out how many of those floors, Greg?
Well, you want to rent out all 5. I don't want to buy a 5-story office building and then rent out half a floor or something.
Yeah, you want to have you don't have any vacancy.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
It's like you get more renters, you're going to get more income.
Exactly, right. That makes sense.
And the building, does it have a mortgage and overhead and expenses?
Expenses, taxes, utilities, overhead, all that kind of stuff.
So you guys, if you want to kind of compare this in an IUL, like to a client, it's like, yeah, the mortgage is like a 10-year mortgage. So remember that fee that went for 10 years?
Yep, 10-year commercial mortgage.
And then you got to get renters in there. You're going to have a load fee. You're going to have a fee of, you know, getting people coming in, like advertising or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And then you're going to have, you know, down the road after 10 years, your costs are kind of gone, but you're going to have maintenance. You're going to have ongoing cost, you know, like management costs and so forth.
Yep.
So, yeah, and actually the cost can go up a little bit as you get older. The building can go up in cost a little bit as you get older.
Well, that's true. You can add on. You can add on to the building. You can add on to the roof of the building.
Yeah, you got to like replace the roof. You got to do this or that. But anyways,
we're not going to get that today. We don't have time. We've literally got like 10 minutes left.
I know. I'm like it. I'm having fun comparing it. So the building here is, you know, IUL. You want to fill it up over 5 years. You know, comply with it. Yep. If you're using like a level death benefit, we're going to talk about this. So you want to rent out. We're going to compare it to 1 year, 1 floor per year. Yeah. All right. So that example I showed a minute ago, $100,000 a year for 5 years, max funded. You've done it right. You got a minimum death benefit. Structure it correctly. All right. So let's look at one that was designed the correct way. You're going to notice this is in year 31 now. Yeah. So as we zoom into this, let's take a look at this.
Now, the reason we're showing year 31 is because look at the age. The age is 76 to 80. This is the age that he said it would fall apart.
He's saying it would fall apart at that point. So we are now 31 years in. Where these older ages, you designed it correctly. No more premium load because you're not putting any money in.
Makes sense.
You got your admin fee of $10.
Yep, that's flat. Yep.
This fee is gone because that fee was 10 years.
Yep.
No rider charges. And here, your cost of insurance, $600, $800. It's going up.
Right.
Yes, it's going up as you get older a little bit.
Okay, but why?
Look over here on the right side. So right here, when it's $681 here, you see you've got, you know, $83,000 of interest. That's earning like 6.3% as an example. And this product has a bonus of $2,700. So $83,000 plus $2,700. Look over here at our cash value, though. Our cash value, and I'm just going to pull out my calculator right now. 1479. Whoops.
So while you do that, it's interesting, the conditional credit of that bonus is way higher than the cost of the policy, right? That's interesting. But notice what Aaron's going to bring up is the difference between the cash value and the death benefit. Remember we talked about that one example of putting in 100 to 500,000 and it grows to 900,000, that simple example. We're seeing this in kind of real ledger numbers here.
There's about $74,000 of insurance risk between those two numbers. You do the math.
So good.
$74,000 of difference. So that's the net amount at risk. That's what I taught you earlier, right? We taught them $74,000 of insurance risk. $1.4 million is your own money.
Yes. Earning interest.
You're not paying for $1.5 million of insurance.
Ding, ding, ding. That is the big takeaway to me.
You're paying for $74,000 of insurance.
Yes.
And you've got $80,000 of interest and $2,700 of bonus, paying for $683.
Yes.
Okay, for the whole year. That's the whole year's fees.
And the cost is going up a little bit, but part of the reason the cost is going up.
Older, but yes, go over that one, Greg.
But yeah, part of the reason the cost is going up is because your money's growing, and as your money grows, remember that risk corridor by law. We talked about this earlier. We're just trying to fit in as much as we can, you guys. So hopefully we're not going too fast. But by law, that death benefit has to stay ahead of your cash value by a certain percentage, right? So that dollar amount goes up. So yeah, the cost is going to be a little higher because your money's growing and your money is growing to a higher amount, and that requires that risk corridor to be higher.
So there, 94,000, 20 grand more.
Yeah, exactly.
So 20 grand more insurance, but you got 105,000 tax-free growing, 3,500 of interest, a bonus interest, and the fees are only $1,300.
There you go.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is now skipping a few years and to age 86. So now at age 86, the fees are up to $4 grand. But your interest is 150 grand. Your bonus is 5 grand. Even your bonus, your guaranteed bonus, is covering your fees.
Yeah, exactly.
But notice the fees right here. They go up to 13,000 at age 91.
And again, part of that, look at the account of those higher years of fees. The account's up to 3.5 million, right? So that's part of this. That's why because the account's growing so well. We're not taking out any income in this example.
There's almost 200 grand of insurance risk there at age 91. It's costing 13 grand.
Yep.
You got 200 grand. Is this thing lapsing, by the way?
No, he said it will lapse. That's what he said. He said all ULs will lapse because he's never seen one that has worked.
This is not taking out income, but you could still be taking money out.
Of course, yeah.
At age 96, right there, the fees go to zero, okay? Whoa. Why? Put in the chat, you guys. Why did the fees go to zero right there in age 96? Let's scroll over here.
If you look close.
96 to age 120.
The answer is on the page. If you look close, if you can see. I don't know how well we can see the numbers with the way our screen is. So hopefully you can see the numbers. But why?
Yeah, look at that. Look at you're old. You're 96 to age 120, and the fees are zero from then on.
Yeah.
All right? As you guys are saying, right there you see, right there on the right, the cash value and the death benefit are the exact same number.
Yes.
So if they're the same number, what's the insurance risk?
The insurance risk is zero.
There's no insurance risk. Your money and the death benefit equal the same number.
Yeah, you're fully self-insured at that point. Isn't that amazing? You're fully self-insured at that point.
It's still classified as life insurance.
Correct.
And it's still tax-free death benefit.
So awesome.
But there's no fees coming out.
Right.
Okay. And some companies still want there to be a corridor, so some companies will still have fees going forever.
Correct, yeah.
Because they like a corridor to be there, but
good point.
But by law, at age 96, they can equal each other.
Right.
If you designed it right.
Yes.
Look at this one now. Let's go to another one. Wrong way to design it. Let's say you don't put all the money in. You stop at year 1 or year 2 or year 3, or you guys that design them, you have a lump sum and you put it all in the first year and avoid a MEC and you get way too high of death benefit.
Which is very common.
That was a mouthful, but you guys got to join Case Design as a pro member. As you come into pro, we design cases, show you how to do it, look at the cost, but keep going. This one is designed wrong. This was still max funded, this example.
Yep.
But the problem with this example is we didn't fix the death benefit. We didn't switch to level and fix this example. So you look at year 31. Now at 31, Greg, instead of having let's see here, go there. Oops.
Keep. Well, I don't know.
No, we don't
No,
want to keep.
we don't want to keep. I don't know.
I want to get out of this. I don't want to close down. I don't want to keep. Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back in here for a second, you guys. So right here at age 76 now, you see this, that in this example, our fees aren't $683, they're $12,000.
Again, this is the wrong way, right? So this is the improper structure.
Yeah, so the wrong way, look at our insurance. The difference between 900,000 and 1.8 is just under $1 million.
Remember what it was before? It was
74.
74,000 of risk corridor is all it was. In this example, the wrong way, it's about, what did you say, 900 something?
Yeah, it is exactly 924.
Yeah.
So $924,000 of insurance risk, you know, because if you die, you guys, you got $1,900,000 of your own money, but if you die, you leave behind 1.8. Yeah, it's a lot more insurance if the client wants that, but this example, 12 grand is coming out in fees to pay for that.
Yep.
That's why the fees are way more.
Yes.
They're like 20 times. And then here, your interest is 52,000. So the interest is covering it right now.
Yeah, but
right
we're
now.
earning a lot less interest too, right? Like the risk corridor is higher because it's structured wrong, but also we're earning interest on 900,000 instead of nearly 1.5 million.
Yeah, there's 1.5, 1.4 in there.
Yep.
Yeah, on the last one.
Exactly.
Here, there's now you get to this point, we got 73,000 of interest.
Yep.
Covering 40,000 of fees. Okay, 2,400 of a bonus. So look at those fees going up like crazy because you still have 900 grand of insurance risk. Okay.
Yep.
Now you go to the next page.
I'm gonna let you wrap up.
Okay, here on the next page, age 96 now, we got $149,000 of fees. If you remember the other example, age 96, at that point we had no insurance risk. The two numbers were the same, all right? So the two numbers were the same, and that meant that there was no more fees coming out in the policy. So again, you can design these right, and you can design them wrong, all right? So this is the wrong way to do it. So $57,000 of interest is not enough to cover the fees, and you can see the fees, they go down here and level off after age 100, but eventually the policy lapses and runs out of money, okay? So this helps you guys understand insurance, understands the risk, understands how it works. What are you paying for in insurance cost? How to design it correctly to have the lowest cost to make it work well and not have it work like the way he was saying that it's going to run out, that you're going to have issues and so forth, okay? And this is just gives you guys kind of a taste of looking at what, what can happen. One other thing that we get into, one of the last areas, is talking about the guaranteed values, you guys. So looking at the guaranteed values, does anybody, have a client that looks at those guaranteed values and you're like, the client's like, worried about the guaranteed worst case scenario. So he says here that, these rates are not guaranteed and all you're ever going to earn is going to get the guaranteed worst case scenario. Okay. So they say that, and this is what this guy is saying, is he's saying, hey, you're only going to get the guaranteed worst case scenario. Current rates are not guaranteed, therefore they're not part of the policy, and therefore they will not pay him. So he's saying you're not going to get them. They're not going to pay it, okay? So what is a guarantee, you guys? The absolute minimum. So don't let an advisor, sit there and trash talk the IUL that all you're ever going to earn is the guaranteed worst case scenario, okay? So when you look at those, what we're going to say is the guaranteed worst case scenario is two things, all right? It assumes on day one, right when you start the policy, worst case scenario, that day one forever, all you're ever going to earn is 0% every year forever. All right? Is that likely? No. The market goes up and down. Even if the market goes up and down a bunch, good years you're going to earn up to the cap. On the bad years, you're going to earn 0. But if the market went every year negative forever, okay, and some have a guaranteed like 1 or 2%, but that's the, interest is going to be 0 every year forever. You need to also understand that the guaranteed charges, it means that right from day one, you're going to have the maximum charges allowed by law. A lot of companies have never even gotten close to, those fees, and a lot of companies have never even raised their fees, okay? So, looking at that. So here in this guaranteed example, putting in $20,000 a year, every year, it's showing the worst case scenario, max fees forever, all right? So that you need to understand this to be able to explain it to clients that this is, starting tomorrow, the market goes down every year forever, and you never earn any interest, and everyone starts dying from a COVID, for example, like we're talking major deaths, like real deaths, like 25% of the population, things are falling apart. We got bigger problems, you guys. At least we have a guarantee. You don't have a guarantee in the stock market. Here you have a guarantee to show, but don't shy away from the guaranteed values of like looking at this and worrying about it, okay? So you could really, be able to show that there's no guarantee in other things. We have a guarantee to show, but it's the minimum worst case scenario that is not likely to happen. If it started happening in 10 years or 20 years, then at that point we could get out or do something else, but it's never even gotten close to happening. So I hope you guys learned something powerful here. I'm going to turn the time back over to Greg, okay? But thank you so much for joining this session. Let's turn it over to Greg as we're ready. We're ready to turn it over to Greg?
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Aaron. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that session. Put a 1 in the chat if you learned something from that session that you can implement with your clients. Put a 1 in the chat if you can implement something from that session, even a small thing. Now, here's the real key. Put the number in the chat of things that you learned from that session, and maybe the VIP session, you can include that too, of the number of things you think you learned. Honestly, what's your honest assessment? What did you learn? How many things did you learn that you think can help you in the future? I'd love to kind of get like some feedback of the number of things in the chat that you learned that can help you in your future with your clients, with your business, with all that kind of stuff. So awesome. I love to see all that. I love to see the things that you guys learn and how much you guys take away from these sessions. We love teaching you guys these sessions. This is the breakthrough breakout, just gives a chance for our presenter to kind of get up and get ready. So just a quick little break and all that kind of stuff. So appreciate all you guys, and I think we're ready to turn it over to our next presenter. So I'd like to introduce to you a man who needs no introduction, but you know what? We're going to give him one anyway, okay? He's the one who brought IUL to the masses with his books like Misfortune 101, Last Chance Millionaire, Millionaire by 30, Entitlement Abolition, and of course, the Laser Fund. A man who has so many videos on YouTube that if you were to watch one video per day, it would take you over 5 years to get through them all. And then by that time, you'd have another 5 years of videos. He's the master of masterminds, the professional of producers, the A+ of agents. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, New York Times bestselling author, renowned presenter, YouTube star, and your keynote speaker for this event, Doug Andrew.
Okay, are we ready to go? Why don't you show my PowerPoint screen there, Grant? And are you putting on your seatbelt? Okay, I promised you yesterday that today I'm going to show you how we've helped 144 of our IUL insiders grow their practice by 10x in less than 1 year. Others take 18 months, 2 years, whatever, but it took me 60 months to 10 times to go to 500,000 to 5 million. But today I'm going to show you the secrets of what took me 35 years to learn. It took my sons maybe 5 years. I don't want it to take you more than 6 months at the absolute most. And so I wanted to segue a little bit from what Emran was talking about. Some of these myths out there. One that drives me absolutely crazy when I hear people say, oh, IUL's too expensive. The fees and commissions are excessive. You should only use a fee-based advisor because that's the least cost way to manage your money. Ha! Or I hear these advisors say, I'm a fee-based fiduciary, so I'll be looking out for your best interest better than that life insurance agent. Baloney. Let me show you how I overcome that one. By the way, Emran did a very good job showing you that if you structure IUL correctly, and I'll go through this in just a minute, it gets cheaper as you get older when you maximum fund it, okay? So you flip the misperceived flaws, okay? Now, I'm going to have you imagine this kind of a conversation with a realtor, okay? So you say, hey, I want you to find me a 5-bedroom home in this area for a price of $500,000. The realtor says, yeah, I'd be glad to. And then you ask, well, now, what is your realtor commission? And what's a standard realtor commission, okay? Between the buying and selling representative, it's 6%. Well, what if the realtor says, well, you can pay me a one-time fee of 6%, so that'd be $30,000. Or better, you can pay me just 1% of the value of the home every year for the next 30 years as it appreciates. Which one would you choose? So why am I using this analogy? Because this is what fee-based advisors and fiduciaries talk about. By the way, when I teach advanced continuing education to CPAs and tax attorneys, and they go, "Oh, we're fiduciaries," I go, "Okay, let me ask you a question. How many of you have high net worth clients that are savers? How many of you know that they're going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 million in those IRAs or 401ks you've been telling them to put money into because they're savers? How many of you realized a long time ago that they're not going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire? They're going to be in as higher tax bracket as they were during their earning years, even with RMDs. How many of you saw that? And you continued to let them defer, postpone, and procrastinate instead of at least rolling over to a Roth, let alone an IUL that I've taught you about here today. Were you looking out for their best interest? And the blood drains out of their face. They call themselves fiduciaries, but they're not looking out for their clients' best interest once they understand what we're teaching you in this 3-day challenge, okay? But let's look at which ones are the most inexpensive. Now, I shared with you, let me get my red pen up here so I can show you. One of the things that you learned yesterday morning in Emran's VIP session is diversification and rebalancing, okay? Now, without diversification and rebalancing, I showed you the other day that the worst 10-year period since the Great Depression, the Great Recession, that if you didn't even rebalance and move over to the general account portfolio, and 5 years you got zero, your average return would have been 7.23%, okay? Now, 7.2 divided into the rule of 72 means your money is going to double every 10 years. So if a client started out with 500,000, I'm simplifying this, in an IUL. And I had many clients put in 500,000 back in the 1980s. And it would double to $1 million if that's the internal rate of return in 10 years, and then to 2 million, then to 4 million. So let's say an asset manager does that, okay? Now, if you diversify and rebalance, I've been able to average since 1980 with Universal Life and then later Index Universal Life, 9.62. Rounding that down, 9.6 into the rule of 72, your money doubles every 7.5 years. That's only 2.4% more rate of return. And yet I double the results for my client. That's what you've been learning here today, the secret of IUL. So in this same scenario, it doubles to $1 million, 2 million, 4 million, but 4 million doubles to 8 million in that same 30-year period. Okay. Now let's just say the asset manager does that. If an asset manager were to net after fees and everything else a 9.6% rate of return, and they don't, okay, that's why they have a 4% rule. This is what the asset manager would charge in fees compared to what I earn off of an IUL. I only earn a commission on the 500,000 that went in there. As it grows to 8 million, my compensation was 30 grand, okay? The asset manager is charging 1% on that every year for the 30 years, and the asset manager charged them $980,000 for the same result, if they can even achieve the same result. But it's not the same result because the asset manager's 8 million after tax, even in a 25% bracket, is only 6 million. You talk about fees. IUL is one of the most inexpensive. It's less than 3% of what asset managers charge if they could achieve the same results, okay? Anyway, you can tell I'm very passionate about this. Emran talked about the whole life challenge. If you ever have a whole life agent, again, that says, oh, IUL it will crash and burn and blah, 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 have them do this, okay? Fund a whole life policy. Just say, fund a whole life policy with $500,000 in premium as fast as TAMRA allows, okay? And I know it's going to take 7 years with a whole life, where I can get it in 3 years and 1 day with Indexed Universal Life to avoid a MEC. And then under TEFRA and DEFRA, I know the whole life is going to require more death benefit to accommodate 500,000 than the Universal Life is. The costs are going to be cheaper, and I get the money in faster. Right off the bat, I'm going to blow whole life out of the water. But see, most whole life agents are comparing apple death benefit. No, I'm comparing what are you putting into the policy, the 500,000, and then let it accumulate to the 15th year, let's say, to age 65. And then, as Emran showed you, I tell them, take the maximum tax-free income out of that whole life policy, clear to age 120 without it, lapsing, based on actual historical rates of return in your whole life policy. Okay? And then calculate the internal rate of return. I did this one time with a few whole life agents that came through. I had the number one Northwestern Mutual agent in America come through my training. And I was talking to him about internal rate of return. I said, so what's the average internal rate of return on your whole life? And he goes, 8%. I go, no, that's your gross. That's your gross. He goes, well, I don't know what you're talking about. They don't teach us about internal rate of return. Well, there's a reason why they. So I had him maximum fund a Northwestern Mutual policy, and I did an Index Universal Life to age 65. And assuming an 8% gross rate of return, the net was in the 4s. He goes, I thought they were netting 8. I go, no. See, you have to earn 8 to net 4 by age 65. Look at this Universal Life. By 65, I've been earning, I can earn 9 and net 8. I can net what you're grossing. So I said, let it go clear out to age 95. And so the person's not taking any income. We went out to age 95. And assuming a gross rate of return on the whole life of 8, it netted 5.9, meaning the whole life gobbled up 2 of the 8 percentage points. And he had no clue that whole life was doing that. That's why if you ask them to create income and you calculate internal rate of return, whole life will not hold a candle because it was not designed for that. People say, well, whole life has guarantees. Guarantees for what? Well, that the death benefit will be there. Hello? My Index Universal Life, the cash value grows to equal the death benefit by the 10th or 11th year with most of my clients, okay? Why do you need guarantees of a death benefit when we accomplish what Emran said, you self-insure? You are self-insuring. My cash value now has grown to equal and exceed the death benefit. I don't need guarantees because I now am self-insured and it's tax-free, okay? So I did some YouTube videos here a few weeks ago. One of them says this: did your IUL agent design your IUL to receive a grade of A+ or B+ or worse, a C or a D or a fail grade? If any of your clients watch that video and they look at your IUL that you designed for them, you better have it you better make sure it was done right. Or how about this one? I did a video a few weeks ago on telltale signs that your IUL is not structured correctly, such as if it's not earning more than the costs and fees within the first few policy years. I have seen IUL agents where the premiums they've paid into it far exceed the cash value even by the 20th year. Your cash value should exceed the premiums within the first 5 years, okay? If the premium costs and fees aren't covered by the earnings of the policy within the first few years, it wasn't structured right. If the cash value accumulation is not greater than the premiums by the 5th year, okay? Hello, you took too much death benefit. You didn't structure it correctly. If the cash value does not grow to equal and exceed the death benefit by the 10th or 15th year, okay? Now this is for our demographic, 55 to 75-year-olds. And people say, oh, that's too old. This doesn't work for older people. Ha! Most of our clients are 55 to 80 years old, and they have millions of dollars. I told you just this last Monday, one of them called after watching a few YouTube videos and wants to set aside $12 million a year, $60 million into an IUL. This happens all the time. Why? Why do they need, Dave Ramsey says, well, if you have the money, you don't need insurance. Then why are the affluent putting money in IUL? Because of what we've been teaching you. It's next to impossible to penetrate in courts of law. It earns tax-free. They can earn 11 and net 10 by diversifying. Where else can they earn 10% tax-free, these wealthy people, okay? When they get it, they want IUL. Okay, so I want you right now to be open-minded to some ideas here that may even sound a little counterintuitive. Would you be willing to do that? Please raise your hand on the chat, okay? Would you be willing to suspend your disbelief until I make my case during this next hour? Okay, would you be willing to do that? And please, would you be willing to withhold justifying why you think you can or cannot do what I'm about to show? Because I can teach you how to do it. I've taught many, many agents how to do what I'm going to show you, okay? Because today is the first day of the rest of your life and your career. In fact, for many of you, and many of you have already joined IUL Insiders because you want to get those 10 Laser Fund books and the bonuses. And welcome to the inside, by the way. I want you to put a big starburst around today's date on this calendar, and I want you to put it up on the wall, and I want you to watch what happens every month and 6 months and a year from now as you look back to that date today, where you colored it in yellow and starburst it, and that was the defining moment for the rest of your career. I want you to see that, okay? Now, I'm going to perform a little magic here for you, okay? What I just ask you to do is suspend your disbelief. So if you can see this magic coloring book, if I flip through it, you know, a lot of times I have my grandkids, I want them to draw their own pictures. And so, see, it's just blank, okay? And that's what I want you to do. I want you to clear out your mind of things you've always thought to be true or what you've always taught or thought to be true, okay? Now, in a few minutes here, you're going to see some new images of your brighter future in your business. And you'll begin to see images like this coloring book that has images in it, okay? Oh, did you see that one? Well, I want you to see one where it's all filled in full living color, okay? And that's what I'm going to be doing in the next 60 minutes. I want to transform and fill in full living color your brighter future. I promised you yesterday, you will leave here with ideas worth $5 million to you. I don't care if it's $5 million the rest of your career, but if you really listen and apply, you implement, it'll be worth $5 million annually to you. I've been there. I did it. I did it 25 years ago. Okay, now, good, better, best, as we say. Today is the best ideas you will ever hear in this industry. Yesterday, I framed this with 3 transformations. The first transformation is why a system is key to your success, how to eliminate up to 94% of all failures by using one simple process, okay? Get rich in your niche and use predictability. What's synonymous with predictability? Denmark kangaroo orange, okay? So when I say that, that means predictable. You put this much wood in the fire, and you get this many BTUs of heat back. Every time we put on a Retire by Design event, we know a few days in advance, we send it out. We know that every $1,500 that we invest in Facebook is going to generate 100 registrations, Denmark kangaroo orange, okay? It's predictability. The second transformation I introduced yesterday is to get out of the commodity trap. This is how to have the highest compensation with the least competition. And I showed you that you do that by creating a meaningful transformation for your clients. That's key number 2 on the 10 key scorecard that all of you should be filling out, okay? And so that is moving from the commodity level up to the transformation, because producers sell life insurance. Professionals transform people's lives using IUL, okay? And so that's what I want you to be able to evolve to. The third transformation I want for you is to cultivate your ideal clients and prospect to those right fit clients using proven methods. We've already done this for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just plug and play our systems, okay? So key number 1 is to, first of all, identify the profile of your ideal client. And I showed you 4 questions that you ask yourself in order to do that. And then you use proven methods to find those people. My marketing is designed to find people that have $500,000 or more of liquid cash, and they want to reposition it to increase what? The liquidity, safety, rate of return on tax benefits. That's what they want when they register. They're already qualified, okay? And that's why our tax-free tools webinars, and that's the name of the presentation that IUL Insiders receive, slides, the slide deck, the script and everything. We know that every 100 registrations, I can fill up registrations for people that have 100,000 or more, and that's about $15 per registration. But I'm shelling at about $21 per registration to find people that have $500,000 or more, okay? And so I end up with these statistics, Denmark Kangaroo Orange, and our average case is going to be actually right now about 22,000, and I'll show you why here in just a moment. It's Denmark Kangaroo Orange predictable, okay? But then we scale it. Once you get this down, then you have the wherewithal to invest 3,000 to get 200 registrations, if you can handle that many people. So many times we'll show you how to generate more leads than you'll know what to do with, and you'll have to hire agents to handle the leads that you don't have to take time to take care of, okay? And so we scale that. And that's why we shell out 15, 20,000, okay? We don't spend it, we invest 15,000 to get 1,000 registrations, okay? If we want 1,500 registrations, then we invest $12,500. It's Denmark Kangaroo Orange. And then we're going to have at least 30%. Last time it was 38%. People have $500,000 up to $500 million. We know another 28% have $250,000 or more. And they already know they want to check out putting that into IUL because that's money that's underperforming. It's not passing the liquidity, safety, rate of return test and tax advantage test with the highest score as IUL. How do they know that? Because I taught them, they watched a YouTube video, and they were able to quantify that where they have their money doesn't score very high with the key elements of a prudent investment. It is so simple. It's simply beautiful, but it's beautifully simple, okay? And so that's what we meant by creating predictability, okay? Denmark Kangaroo Orange. Now, I told you yesterday, one of my most frustrating experiences in this business is agents who are looking to add IUL on top of what the client's already saving, okay? Like they're almost apologetic. Do you have any extra money a month, 500 a month or 1,000 a month you could put into this life insurance called Indexed Universal Life? Hello? I remember doing a seminar for my friend. He was a fellow top of the table member, and he said, Doug, I've got 3 agents, and they don't know how to find people. You don't have that problem. Could you do a seminar and do them some leads, and I'll pay for the seminar and everything? I said, sure. So I gave each of those agents 5 leads, and they came back about 4 days later and says there was nothing there. I go, what? That's never happened. I did another seminar, gave them all 5 leads, and they returned them in 3 or 4 days, and there's nothing there. I go, give me those. I was able to resurrect $20,000 of target premium in 72 hours. I said, what do you mean there's nothing there? Well, they already were putting money in 401k. They already had some rental properties. They already were sending, but well, did you ask them if they're sending extra principal payments against it? Did you ask them if they were socking away money for college? Well, we don't want to touch that money. Why? IUL will do better with that money than what they're doing with that money. Oh, we don't want to rock the boat. Yeah, drives me crazy. Okay, ask the right questions, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a moment. Now remember, I'm putting on a hat that I'm a financial strategist, a retirement planning specialist. I don't put that alphabet soup behind my name that I'm a certified financial planner. That stereotypes me into, oh, hang in there, the market always comes back. Oh, put money into that tax-deferred IRA or 401k. You'll likely be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. I don't want that stereotype certified financial planner. That's ridiculous. I'm way above that, okay? I'm a tax minimization specialist. I optimize assets, minimize taxes, and empower your true wealth, as I gave you a glimpse yesterday. So this is why I'm asking you, are you optimizing all of your clients' assets? Now, look at this cartoon. This is one of my favorite cartoons. This is a Peanuts cartoon with Lucy, Lioness, and Charlie Brown. And Lucy says, aren't the clouds beautiful? They look like big balls of cotton, okay? And so they all lay down on this hill, and Lucy says, I could lie here all day and watch them drift by. If you use your imagination, you can see lots of things in the cloud formations. What do you think you see, Lioness? And Lioness goes, well, and those clouds up there look to me like the map of the British Honduras on the Caribbean. That cloud up there looks a little like the profile of Thomas Eakins, the famous painter and sculptor. And that group of clouds over there gives me the impression of the stoning of Stephen. I can see the Apostle Paul standing to one side. That's very good, Linus, okay. What do you see in the clouds, Charlie Brown? And Charlie goes, well, I was going to say I saw a ducky and a horsey, but I changed my mind. Yeah, you can't believe how many IUL agents are looking at IUL like it's a ducky and horsey, almost apologizing to show the guaranteed illustration or something. You need to expand your mind, okay? Remember yesterday, most IULs are created far below their potential. You focus on what it does instead of what it is. The 8 asset categories I'm about to go through here are where most Americans have money. Not all Americans have them in all 8, but most Americans have money that they're socking away or in instruments in these 8 categories. And the vast majority of Americans, the money in those accounts is not passing the liquidity, safety, rate of return test, and tax advantage test with flying colors, as well as IUL. So they're underperforming, or if they're in a bank or credit union earning less than the inflation rate, they're non-performing, in my opinion, okay? This is the percent of premium that goes into our IUL policies that comes from these 8 categories, okay? And so as clients engage with us, they come through a very predictable transformation process, okay? The first part of the process is the enlightenment experience. And so this is where they get ahas. They sometimes attend a webinar or a seminar. Sometimes they watch a YouTube video or 2. Sometimes they are listening to a podcast. You have to find out, do your clients like to listen and learn, watch and learn, or read and learn, or all the above, okay? But once you do that, 85% of the result is determined in the first 15% of the process. It is a predictable system, okay? Now, I'm going to show you here. This is a blue sheet. We don't use these much anymore because we don't do live events anymore, because we can fill up webinars with people all over America for 1/10 the cost that we used to shell out to do live events in San Francisco, Dallas, Orlando, Chicago. Those were very profitable. And so we used to give a little folder when we would start the seminar, and this was the Retire by Design, and it had several sheets in it, the scorecard, but it had a blue sheet in it. So the only reason why it's blue is because about 90 minutes into my presentation, I'd say, folks, pull out the blue sheet. That's the only reason why it's blue. And on the blue sheet, this is where I would say, would you kindly provide your information here? It's totally confidential. And I've already established tons of trust at that point. They fill out that information, and I say, would you please give me, and if you don't know the exact amount, give me an estimate of how much you make in gross income, how much do you save monthly or annually, how much do you have total in IRAs or 401ks yet to be taxed, how much do you have in non-qualified accounts, how much do you own in real estate, and how much do you owe? I look at those 6 numbers, and in less than 60 seconds, I can look at that and go, oh, they're going to pay $240,000 of unnecessary tax. Oh, wow. They're going to get clobbered unless they listen and learn about a strategic rollout. So I have them check a strategic rollout down here, or this, or this, or this, and then they turn in this form. And I assign them to an IUL specialist that's going to help them reposition non-performing and non-performing assets based on the first appointment interview that I'm going to do a mock of here in just a second. And then between that seminar and them coming to the first appointment, whether it's online or in person, I have them, most of the agent, I'm trying to look for it here, it's a bookmark. And so this is a copy of the bookmark. Otherwise, we do it electronically with an email. We assign homework. And for the first appointment, okay, we put down their first appointment down on this bookmark because we give them a copy of the Laser Fund. Now it's all digital. And we suggest they read maybe Chapter 5, The Miracle Solution on IUL, or maybe a comparison to various alternatives, or maybe they want to understand indexing, so they read Chapter 6. And then I say, hey, to both the husband and the wife, how do you like to learn? Okay. Do you like the charts and graphs and numbers, or do you learn more by stories? Are you more right brain? The vast majority of couples, one of them makes their decisions and learns more left brain. Okay, logically, the other makes their decisions more right brain, and they love the stories. So I say, oh, in the Laser Fund book, If you don't like charts and graphs, would you just read some stories in here? They only take about, a minute and a half each. And I want you to read the stories in chapter 3. And we're going to show you how you can roll money out of those IRAs or 401ks. And so read the stories in chapter 12, okay? And maybe if you want to see college funding or real estate, they read those chapters. Okay. And so we give them homework and they start reading those, and then they even read more. And then this is what we have them bring to the first appointment. Okay. Your current cash savings, all that information, the current taxes I have them bring 2 to 3 years of their most recent tax returns. Okay. The current life insurance, their current real estate, current liabilities, and also their health status and their medical information, because they know they're going to have to qualify for this. They already know that. But see, I'm a professional. I'm an asset optimization specialist. So to ask them to bring their tax returns, they bring them, and I look at their tax returns, and I can immediately see between the lines, and I can tell what they know and what they don't know, and how much they're going to shell out in unnecessary tax. They want me to analyze what they're doing, because most of their CPAs and tax attorneys are not being proactive. They're just telling them how much they owe in tax instead of how much they can save. Okay? Now, again, I use the Laser Fund book or my YouTube channel or my podcast based on, do they like to read and learn, watch and learn, or listen and learn? If they like to read and learn, these are the chapters in the book that I assign out as homework. If they only have a little bit of time, I'll assign maybe figure 10.3, which is the comparison to various alternatives. And they see all these optimal features. The first are liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages. But these are optimal features of a prudent investment or place to put money. And then they see that IRAs or 401ks only have 2 yeses. Mutual funds only have 2. A home only has 2. CDs and bank accounts have 4, but they're pathetically low in their rate of return. Annuities only have 1 yes. Real estate only has 2 yeses. Oh, look at this. What has all these yeses? An IUL laser fund. Oh, what's the no? Oh, you can't tax deduct what you put into it. Oh, I don't have. I would rather pay the tax on the seed and enjoy the harvest without tax. That's no problem. And now they see why I'm so passionate about max funded IUL. Because on 1 page, I've had them study 1 page for 2 minutes before they came into my office. And I say, Jim and Mary, what would you like to accomplish most from this appointment? And they go, well, we study that chart out in your waiting area, and we want one of those IUL laser funds. So we're just here to see how we do that. See, they already made the decision. I have them look at the bucket illustration because I'm going to be using that so they understand that metaphor, okay? And how you have to fill it up. Most of our clients, they come to the first appointment, they already understand TEFRA and DEFRA and TAMRA better than most insurance agents do, okay? Sometimes I ask, if you started out with 100,000 in the market and the market went up 50, then down 50, then up 50 and down 50, what would you have left? Guess what most people say? Oh, you'd be back to break even. No. See, if the market goes up 50 and then it goes down 50, you lose from 100,000 up to 150,000. If you lose 50% of 150, you're down to 75. If it goes up 50, you're only up to 112.5. If that goes down 50%, you only have $56,250. Most people don't understand that, and that's why I have them look in Chapter 8 at the lock-in and reset. If the market went up 10, down 10, up 10, down 10 for 10 years, you're not at break-even. You only have 95,000 of your original 100,000. But if the market went up 10, and when it went down, you didn't make anything, but you didn't lose. Zero was your hero. So in this scenario, in 10 years, 5 years was zero. The other years you made money. You have 161,000 instead of losing 5,000. That's indexing. And then if they need to, I keep a ratchet wrench at my desk. I go, so you understand, see, with this wrench, if I kept this wrench on a bolt or a nut, and I tightened and then I left it on there, I have to lift it off and everything. But see, that's the beauty of a ratchet wrench. This is indexing. So every year that you make money and you progress, that's great. But then you reset, click, 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 click. And if the next year the market crashes, you don't lose. You don't make anything, but you don't lose, but you reset. And as soon as the market turns around, you progress again. You don't undo any progress you made. It's like a ratchet wrench. See, you keep it simple and sincere. How many love that metaphor? Okay, there you go. Now, also, you don't have to have one of these, There's all kinds of financial needs analysis forms, what have you, but I came up with a green sheet. It's green because this is money I'm talking about. This is a green sheet, and this is what I fill out as I do this mock interview. Now, if you don't have to see what I want you to listen to what I'm doing. This is where I have their information, their children's names and so forth, because their adult children become clients. This is where I put all their real estate and what they owe. This is all their qualified accounts. Is it owned by the husband or wife or both? How much are they putting in? How much is in there? What rate of return are they getting? And then you notice over here on the right is a yes or a no. That I circle a yes when I ask them, Jim and Mary, would you like me to illustrate repositioning that money into an IUL, utilizing a strategic rollout? And then I circle the assets that they tell me they would like to see an illustration. What if they reposition that into IUL to increase the liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages of where they have that money? I do that with all their qualified accounts, their life insurance, their other assets that are non-qualified, yes, no, and also their liabilities. Maybe they're going to sell some rental properties, and they realize when I sell it, where am I going to put the equity? Where am I going to put the money? Do you want to reposition this real estate? Do you want to reposition that real estate? When? In 2 years, in 5 years, or whatever. I'm an asset optimization financial strategist. And then down here, my first illustration, Jim and Mary, the first thing I want to do is show you how much better off you would be 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, clear out to age 120. If you repositioned those things that we marked that you would like to see, if you repositioned where you currently have money and are putting aside money without increasing your outlay one dime, would you like to see an illustration showing how much better off you would be without increasing your current outlay one dime? I've never had anybody say, no, I don't want to see that. Never. And then I say, now, the second illustration, if I do that and you see that it does far better than leaving your money where it's at in those IRAs or 401ks or keeping that rental property that's all you're having to repair it every month. Once you see that, we still don't achieve the goals that you're going to share with me today, do you want me to calculate how much longer you should wait to retire instead of age 65, maybe 67 or 70, or calculate how much more you ought to be setting aside into your plan in order to retire at the date you want to? Would you like me to do that calculation? Absolutely. They want to know what they have to do because nobody's ever told them, okay? And then the third illustration might be, what if we sold this property? What if we took this one and moved it over to here, even though it's with my brother-in-law at Merrill Lynch or whatever, okay? And so I usually have 2 or 3 different illustrations I'm providing, but I'm going through and I'm analyzing which assets, and I get them to agree, that are underperforming or non-performing with relation to what? The laser test. Liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages. And this is how you can 10 times your income. So here we go. When they come in for the first appointment, I'll usually say, after reading the assigned chapters in the Laser Fund book and watching the recommended YouTube videos or listening to the podcast, Jim and Mary, what did you want to accomplish most from this first visit? Now, it's amazing. 70% of them go, well, duh. Well, whatever we do, we want one or more of those IUL laser funds. We're here to see how it works in our particular set of circumstances. Why do they say that? Because they've already bought, okay? They're already educated. That's what I was teaching you yesterday. Education is a unique experience. When you provide a unique experience by educating your clients, once they get educated, they want something they didn't know they wanted till they got educated, okay? Now, they may go on to say, well, we want to be financially secure by age 68 so that we can net $300,000 a year in after-tax income, okay? They're still not equating tax-free because they haven't heard that before. We don't want to outlive our money, and we want to be unable to enjoy retirement well into our 90s, maybe even age 100, okay? Great. That's their goal. So I don't have time right now to teach you how to do the following. That's what we teach in my monthly mentoring calls and what you learn by belonging to IUL Insiders. But what I want you to do right now is focus on the result when you learn how to help your clients optimize assets, okay? So here we go. I'm sitting down with them, and many times I'll have the financial Swiss Army knife up here on my screen on my computer. And I'll say, okay, Jim and Mary, you know, and from watching those YouTube videos and reading those chapters in the book, my favorite financial vehicle, without question, to increase liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages is a max-funded IUL. It's like a financial Swiss Army knife. It is the dream solution to many financial goals. Now, you registered for this event, and you came because you wanted to sock away money for the next so many years. You're going to retire in 12, 15 years. And so you wanted to sock away some extra money. And you know it's not going to be wise to put it into an IRA or 401k or a Roth, okay? And so thank you for understanding that. So how much were you thinking you wanted to sock away? And they go, well, we want to get serious here. We want to sock away $2,000 a month. Now, I immediately go, okay, $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year, and I times it by 11 years. They're not retiring in 11 years. They're retiring later than that. If you don't understand why I only times it by 11 years, you need to learn. You need to join IUL Insiders. I would be making the IUL policy more expensive than it needs to be. It wouldn't earn as good of a rate of return. So I only times it by 11. Okay, that's $264,000. That's where most agents would go, oh, hot diggity dog. I have got a guideline single premium of $260 some odd thousand, and they stop because the client told them they wanted to put $2,000 a month on top of what they're already doing into an IUL. Now, you don't stop there. Okay, great. So I notice here you have some real estate and rental properties. You have a home. Are you socking away extra principal payments trying to pay off those mortgages? Yeah, we are. We've been sending at least $1,000 a month in extra principal payments against mortgages on a rental. Okay. Well, would you like to reposition that? Did you read how if you did that into an IUL laser fund, compounding tax-free at a rate of return that usually is double the net cost of the tax-deductible interest on the rental mortgage? You're earning 100% more than the cost of the funds, but you're maintaining liquidity, and you'll actually accumulate enough money in your IUL to pay the house off 2.5 years faster than giving it to the mortgage company. Oh yeah, we almost feel embarrassed. We thought we understood how money works, but would you like me to reposition that $1,000 a month into an IUL? Absolutely. Okay. Now, do you have any rental homes that you're sick and tired of being the landlord, taking out the trash, evicting tenants, fixing toilets on? You just want to get rid of it? Yeah, we got one house. I think we're going to try to fix it up this next year and then sell it. So when would you sell it at the soonest? No, next year, in year 2. Okay, what do you think you'll net out of it? Oh, at least $400,000. Okay. Would you like to reposition that $400,000 after realtor fees and everything into an IUL? Absolutely. Yeah. Why wouldn't we? I go, yeah, I would do that if I were you. Okay, your home. How much is your home worth? $1 million. What's your plan to do with the house? I see it's paid off. You don't have a mortgage on it. Yeah, we worked hard to pay it off, but now we're feeling like, should we have paid it off? Now we can't refinance it and deduct the interest except for $100,000 line of credit. I go, well, you can reestablish acquisition indebtedness when you buy a new home. Are you going to buy a new home? Well, yeah, in 5 years, we were going to sell that house and buy 2 small retirement homes, one in a winter climate and one in a summer climate. This is very common for people here in Utah. So we're going to sell it for $1 million, and we were going to buy 2-bedroom retirement homes for $500,000 each. Well, we were originally going to pay cash because, you know, why have a mortgage in our retirement? And now we're rethinking our things to deduct the interest. And so if I were you, I would at least mortgage those 2 rental properties for 80% loan to value. Yeah. So that means you'll take out $400,000 mortgages on those 2. And you'll only need $200,000 of that $1 million for down payments. Would you like me to reposition the $800,000 left over into your IUL, and it will be earning a rate of return probably double the net cost of the interest, but it's going to resurrect some tax deductions that will offset money that we might want to get out of your IRAs or 401ks. Did you read that story of tax to the max versus Mrs. I have a lot more? Absolutely. We absolutely want to look at that. Okay, I'll calculate that. By the way, Mr. Jones, looks like you're a business owner here. Way to go, and I'd love to hear the story of how you started that business. I have a question. Do you keep money on hand in a bank or credit union for working capital when you need to buy inventory or order or meet payroll when it's a low? Oh, yeah. So how much do you usually keep on hand? Usually a couple of $100,000. So you have $200,000. How many times have you had to dip into all $200,000 for any type of an emergency? Oh, hardly ever. So it's in a bank or credit union where you're earning next to nothing. You read that many banks and credit unions take 30 to 40% of your money and put it where? In insurance companies. Would you like to bypass the middleman? How much of that $200,000 working capital would you like to reposition into this IUL? That if you needed the money, you could get it within a few days. It may not have a drive-up window like down the street, but how much? What kind of emergencies would require that you could at least wait 2 or 3 days? Oh, let's start with half. See, I told you yesterday, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. I'm not hogging all their asset. I'm letting them. I know in annual reviews, they'll come back and they'll open more IULs. So I write down 100,000. I want to make room for 100,000 of working capital. You have your children are grown, but you have some grandchildren. Yeah, we have 2 grandkids. Are you socking away money to help them out with their college funding? As a matter of fact, we are. We're putting those in 529 plans. Well, you understand that if your grandkids get a scholarship and they don't need that 529 money, but they want to use it for a down payment on a home or start a business, they're going to have to pay tax. And if you happen to die, it's not self-completing. Did you see the advantage in that story of how an IUL will knock the socks off of a 529 plan? And if they need it for a down payment on a home or start a business, it's still tax-free. And if you happen to die while you're saving in the IUL, it blossoms and they will be assured of having that money. Would you like to reposition that $1,000 a month you've been putting into 529? Absolutely. $1,000 a month is $12,000 a year, 11 years, that's 132 grand. I write down 132 grand on the green sheet. I'm writing these numbers down on the green sheet. Okay, do you folks have like a slush emergency fund where you keep money at a bank or credit union? Yeah, we're earning next to nothing. We have 100,000 that we keep in the bank just as a cushion. That's very, very smart. But now you can see you can increase the liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages on that because banks put 30 to 40% of their money in insurance companies. How much of that 100,000 would you like to reposition? Oh, let's take half of that. Let's take 50,000. Okay, so I write down 50,000. Okay, do you have any lump sums right now, or that you anticipate in the next 5 years or so, maybe even 10 years, from the settlement of an accident, maybe an inheritance, a death benefit proceed, maybe a lump sum option at retirement? Now, you wouldn't believe how many people all of a sudden tell you about lump sums that they never told you before. Oh, yeah, absolutely. My wife just got $250,000 tax-free from her mother's death benefit on life insurance. I told you yesterday, if somebody says, what should I do with this tax-free death benefit? Don't pay off your house. No, keep it tax-free, put it into an IUL, and the IUL will earn twice as much as you need to keep making the mortgage payment, and you will establish credit because you don't have to requalify. Widows who pay off their houses end up kicking themselves 2 or 3 years later when they go in to get credit, and they say, we should have excellent credit. Why do you think that? Because I haven't borrowed any money. No, you have to establish credit, and the best way to maintain it as a widow is to keep your mortgage instead of paying it off. If you have the wherewithal to make the mortgage payments from the interest you're earning on your IUL, okay? So, would you like me to reposition that? Do you have that earmarked for anything? No, just our retirement. Okay, so I'll make room for that $250,000 inheritance, okay? Yeah, great, sounds good. Now, already, I know the death benefit under TEFRA and DEFRA, the minimum death benefit is also maybe going to take care of some estate planning for you, kill two birds with one stone. And so to maximize what is transferred on death, the death benefit I'm calculating is going to be between 4 and 5 million already. So you're going to get $5 million of life insurance sort of coming along for the ride on this. That's the minimum, and it's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money that would otherwise go out the window in unnecessary tax. Did you understand that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to love $5 million of life insurance. Right now, we only have $1 million. Okay, and that's a term policy. Once you get approved for $5 million, are you going to keep the term policy? No, it's only a 20-year term, and it's going to go up after that if we keep it. So that's only $250 a month, but that's $3,000 a year. Would you like me to reposition that? Absolutely. Now, actually, I usually get way more money from life insurance that's underperforming that they're going to reposition, and we do 1035 exchanges and so forth. I'm being super conservative on this. Oh, Mary, it looks like you were a school teacher. How long did you teach school here? 30 years, okay? Way to go. I have a couple of sisters that are school teachers, love them. Now, you're probably aware that in this state, they have a defined benefit pension for school teachers. Yeah, I've never totally understood it. Well, let me tell you basically what's going to happen. You are entitled in this state, and most states are like this, otherwise you do the research. In this state, you get 2%. For every year of service that you taught school. You've taught school for 30 years. 30 years times 2% means 60%. 60% of what? 60% of the average paycheck the last 5 years you taught school. What were you averaging in gross income the last 5 years you taught? Oh, about 100,000, okay? So 60% of that is 60 grand. So your defined benefit pension is going to be about 60,000, okay? Now, that's 5,000 a month. Now, this is going to be the conversation that is going to happen. The personnel of the state is going to call you in, but they're going to tell you to bring your husband. Why? Because this is what they're going to say. Mary, thank you for teaching school for 30 years. 30 years times 2%, you get 60%. You were making 100 grand. So your defined benefit pension starts out at 60,000 a year, which is 5,000 a month. However, when you really think about that, that's quite an asset, okay? Your life expectancy is 20 years. 20 years of 60,000, that's a $1.2 million asset. Don't you want to share that $1.2 million asset with Jim here, your husband? And they put you on a guilt trip. Well, yeah, I suppose. This is what we recommend. That you take, instead of $5,000 a month, take a reduction of $4,000 a month. And if you'll take $4,000 a month, then we will continue, if you die, to pay Jim $4,000 a month the rest of his life after your death. Does that make sense? And if you say yes, you just bought the most expensive life insurance policy you'll ever buy with no flexibility. Why? Because what if Jim dies first and you remarry, or you want to leave behind the money to your kids? Nope, you can't. It's gone. You cannot name another beneficiary. Who would buy a life insurance policy where you can't name another beneficiary or leave behind a contingent beneficiary to your kids? Yeah, but school teacher pensions, police officer, firefighter pensions do that, okay? So if you read the story in the book, I would recommend when you start your pension in 5 years that you go ahead and take the $4,000 a month, and we take that extra $1,000 a month and we put that into the IUL policy and let it grow tax-free. And then the death benefit, if you die first, is going to be named to your husband, to your kids. It doesn't matter. You will always leave it behind to somebody and it will blossom. Did that make sense? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll plan on doing that. Okay. Now, here's a general tax reduction. Now, most people that I work with have several million in their IRAs or 401ks. I'm going to show you how I 10 times this case to a $22,000 target premium with just a very conservative example. Jim and Mary, you have $300,000 and yet to be taxed 401k. And you feel like it's going to keep averaging 6%. Yeah, we think so. So you're 55. So if we let it go until age 59 and a half, we could take out some 72T distributions. But wait, if we waited until you were 59 and a half to avoid the 10% penalty, 300,000 is going to grow to 368,000 at 6%. And then at age 59 and a half, I would recommend you do a strategic rollout. Get that out of there. Now, if we start pulling out 50 grand a year, okay, it will take 10 years and it will still be earning 6% interest, but we'll end up getting $500,000 out of your IRAs and 401ks over a 10-year period. And you know what I'm going to recommend? If you read the story of the Smith and the Jones, I'm going to recommend, since you really don't need that money, that you take that 50,000. When take out that 50,000, it's going to show up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. It's subject to tax, but we're going to wash away the tax because we can deduct the interest on two $400,000 mortgages. It's going to wipe it out. In other words, in a 10-year period, we'll get $500,000 out of your IRAs or 401ks with no tax. Does that sound good? I'm a tax strategist. Yeah. We read the story of the Smiths and Jones. We get it. Okay. Now, the result is we'll get 500 grand out tax-free. In the meantime, the 800,000 that we put over into the IUL from the sale of your home in 5 years will have doubled to 1.6 million tax-free. Good trade-off, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Now, what in less than 30 minutes is I got the permission of Jim and Mary, my client, to tell me which assets they would like to see repositioned, and it wasn't all of it, okay? And so here's my little spreadsheet, okay? So here's years 1 through 12, okay? I can keep putting money in the 13, 14, 15 year in an IUL. I don't need any more death benefit to accommodate that. It doesn't violate TEFRA and DEFRA. So the first year, for all 12 years, we're repositioning $2,000 a month. The mortgage, $1,000 a month, is $12,000 a year. The $1,000 a month into the college fund for the grandkids. Here's what they were paying in life insurance. So I have $51,000 a year for 12 years. Okay. In the first year, I have $250,000 from the wife's inheritance, $100,000 from the business working capital, $50,000 from the emergency fund. So I have $451,000, and I put that in, and it does not create a MEC. Okay. The next year, I have $400,000 from the sale of the rental home on top of 51, so that's another $451,000. Now I have max funded the policy for the first 2 years. Now, if they do not sell their personal residence, I can nurse this along at $51,000 the third year and fourth year, but I can accommodate in the fourth year $800,000 because if you don't use the room, you lose it. I have another $400,000 of room here in the third year and fourth year. And so that's why when they sell their home in the fourth or fifth year and they come to me with 800 grand, I can throw it in one fell swoop. It doesn't create a MEC because if you don't use the room, you don't lose it. Roths, if you don't use the room in a given year, you lose it. So I now have their policy funded 83%, but they're going to keep putting in 51,000 plus now the difference in the defined benefit pension for the school teacher. An extra 12,000 a year, that's 63,000 a year. They want to optimize that. What just happened? I took the case to 10x. Instead of a $260,000 guideline premium, I have a $2.2 million. The death benefit's about $5 million. The premiums they're going to put in there are about $2.3 million. Conservatively, their cash value is projected to be $3.3 million at age 67, $3.8 million at 69. What was their goal? To have $300,000 of tax-free income. At age 67, that only 8% with arbitrage and index loans. At age 69, only an 8% payout. And all of a sudden I illustrate that and they're excited, we're thrilled. And I show that compared to leaving the money where they had it. And they run out of money. If they leave the money in those places, they're out of money at age, 71, 72, 76. And the IUL keeps going clear to age 120. It's a no-brainer, okay? So folks, how many of you got insights as I went through that? Okay? Now, I can teach you how to do that. I can transform you to be a financial strategist. What am I telling you? To become the lead advisor. to become their financial strategist, to move ahead of their CPA and tax attorney. And the secret to doing that is creating a meaningful transformation by focusing on all three dimensions. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. Now, also, in the book, and Jim and Mary, I had them read things, but see, they were familiar with these 4 buckets before they even came in. And that's why they understood some things about real estate. They knew that the defined benefit pension with the school teacher, they already read a story there. They read the stories of IRAs of 401 can hold a candle to IUL down here. And so they were very open to a strategic rollout. It's not a rollover. A rollover is going from the frying pan to the fire. They don't get duped into putting money from their 401k into an IRA, deferring to age 72 or 73 and taking RMDs, required minimum distributions. That's the worst advice for most Americans. I recommend no more than 30% should come from that purple bucket at retirement. No more than 30% from rentals. You should be able to make money off of your rentals even if they're vacant. I released a video on that last month that went viral. 40 to 60% of your retirement income shouldn't even show up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. Everybody wants that. And so that's why I have them read hypothetical stories in the book. This is the Mac versus Mrs. Live a lot more, but a strategic rollout is you're showing them getting the money strategically repositioned out of their IRAs or 401ks and so forth. While tax rates are lower and account values are lower. Get the taxes over and done with sooner than later. And reposition that into something that's going to be tax-free from now on and ultimately blossom when they die and reimburse them for all the tax they paid. And then I offset some or all of the tax off times by resurrecting deductions that they killed by paying off their house or their rentals. Maybe that went over your head, but if she's a school teacher, 3Bs and 401ks. I showed them a landlord where we saved him $250,000 and 4 times their income because they're landlords. I showed tax and how a California couple from the highest tax bracket to a 0% tax bracket in 5 years. They now have $8 million tax-free. They read these stories and they were $160,000 school teacher pension. Oh, $200,000 of taxable income, and they're thumping themselves on the chest. And I go, I see one big problem. That's all showing up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. You wouldn't believe how many people say, you mean there's another way? I go, yeah, absolutely. Well, where have you been? I said, I've been here all along. You've had your sort of head in the sand, just working hard. But I can fix it. Okay, I can cure this disease. I wish I could have prevented it. Forever, for the rest of your life. You're only going to net $146,000 in 5 years. We took 120,000 IUL. They still out to life expectancy. We will save them $800,000 to $1 million. We do this all the time. And I showed you a conservative example of somebody only having $300,000 in their IRAs. These people don't have to be mega wealthy, okay? See, they understand. See, in the year 2025, a married couple filing a joint tax return, $109,000 of room. If they don't use that room, they lose it. So you don't save tax by not taking money out of IRAs of 2%. 7,000 of room. If you don't use that room, Jim and Mary, you'll lose it. Anybody over age 59 and a half, we use all that room without taking them into a higher tax bracket. People need you to help them get clarity. Folks, the affluent use IUL. That's our demographic. And Dave Ramsey says, well, if you have millions of dollars, you don't need insurance anymore. Then why are all our clients coming to us and asking if they can put into things that Dave Ramsey doesn't understand as far as liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax benefits? Okay? Let me summarize and show you what I really want you to do here today. IUL Insiders is designed to give you way more engagement opportunities. Fill up your calendar with 40 to 60 appointments a week instead of 8 or 10, okay? I showed you this book yesterday. If you do not solve this to where you can get the highest and best use of your precious dollars, you're going to be spending more and more money, and you must solve this or you're going to be left in the dust. We want to help you solve that. Now, we teach you how to build a referral-based IUL practice. About every third year on the average are existing. But here's a secret I teach IUL Insiders: how to arm your recommenders to easily defend with pride why they engaged with you. I want you to take a snapshot of that, okay? The best way I do it is every time I meet with clients, I say, hey, Jim and Mary, you probably are talking to your family and friends, and you try to tell them what you're doing, and we trust this guy, okay? So I arm them. How many of these books or brochures would you like to deliver with the story in there to your friends and family? I've had clients walk out with 20 books. I even ask if you know who they're giving them to, I'll put their name on it, okay? They walk out and now they become my bird doggers. They just say, here, read this. This is what we're doing. This is a sophisticated strategy how to do it, but you need to arm your recommenders, okay? That's why I want to gift you. You loan those out and watch what happens. And if you say dog-eared on there, if they don't do it, give them another week. And if they don't do it, then get the book back. But if you give it away, you can't get it back. And then you only gift it to somebody when they become your client. Every 10 copies of this book generates how much for us? $11,000 a target premium. Denmark Kangaroo Orange. Folks, we teach you how to get referrals. My barber, I got a haircut yesterday. My barber has my therapist and my dentist, okay? Tax preparation firms. We can show you so many ways to get people, to point people to you. You're going to be blown away. Just get a feeling. And whatever your score is today, okay? Need to know what's going to happen when you raise that score. Now, I've invested over $3 million in my life, sharpening my saw, as Stephen Covey would say. Every one of these groups, the Strategic Coach, the Genius Network, 12 Leaders, Dr. Robert Cooper. That year, it's never a cost. Every time I was in those rooms, I got 10 to 20 times my return on investment. Okay, one reason who's not going to be in this room. Yeah, dedicated and committed for hours every single week to help other people, to make what people would say, you're making your competitors your customers. I'm going, well, yeah, how are we going to help America? I can only talk to so many people. I need help. And so I want to find the right fit people who will do it correctly. Because there is no way I am going to ever point anybody to an IUL agent that hasn't proven to me that they know what they're doing. That's why we have a proficiency exam and a certification process, which you're all going to want to go through, okay? So, folks, $37,600. And when we do this one-on-one, it's $20,000 a day. I've told you we've had many people do that. Invest $100,000 to have a week of our undivided attention, and it was well worth it. They're now multi-million-dollar producers. I'm wanting to give you a 97.5% discount, okay? That's why you can join for $83.64 a year, and if you don't decide here this weekend, we're going to try to hold that for you for the next few months because it may go up. So you can join after this weekend for $83.64, okay? But hello, I would take advantage of this special offer for those of you who are my kind of people on this IUL Challenge. You can join for 6 months. Why do I say 6 months? Because that process is usually 5 to 6 months for most IUL insiders before they continue and renew another 6 months for $24.97. Or maybe they move into masters, maybe they move to certification. There's all kinds of options. But my kind of people, they commit for a year because, like me, Strategic Coach, Genius Network, 12 Leaders, they didn't allow anybody in their group or in the room that didn't commit for a year and invested that up front. So you'll save a couple of $1,000 if you join for a 12-month commitment. And already many of you have done this since yesterday. So welcome to the inside. You're my kind of people. Now, I told you there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. We're not trying to trap you into some contract. If in 30 days this isn't for you, you return all your materials, share why this wasn't for you, and we'll give you a 100% refund, okay? Now, you go to IULinsiderpro.com/yes. You have to do this by Saturday night midnight, okay? Saturday night midnight. And then it turns off, and I'm dead serious, but we'll still let you join for that $88,000 price point for the next few months. But hello, I would do $24.97 or $39.99. That should be a no-brainer if you're a financial advisor. Hello, okay? And you can scan that QR code. I'm going to do some Q&A here in just a minute, but I want to give you the bonuses. And I'll put that QR code up here. But the 3 bonuses, as a token of appreciation for your undivided attention for this 3 days. The first bonus, we will give you the pre-built tax-free tools campaign, which used to be an extra $2,000. This is where you can plug and play and start generating leads ASAP. And then you will learn on the weekly mentoring calls how to tweak that system and perfect it. We want you to start getting leads immediately. That's why I want to give those of you who join some books so that you can start having that tool, okay? The second bonus is the bucket builder software, the simulator software, and the auditor. I told you, the auditor tool, we have some IUL insiders, they make $500,000 a year just auditing IUL policies of orphan clients of agents who left the business in their organization. That's all they do. This is where Brian Gerald audited a premium finance case last month, and he wrote a case that $500,000 of target premium, okay? You will deliver A-plus design plans every time. It was a no-brainer. He showed an A, but his client, he could see that his plan was a D or an F, that he was sold by some other IUL agent, okay? You will also receive the carrier matrix that Emmer went through this morning, okay? All of that is the second bonus we're going to provide for you as a thank you for being on this challenge. Now, the third bonus, I would love for all of you, but it's only for those of you who at least, commit for the semi-annual, $24.97, or the annual, and that's the done for you presentation, a $3,000 value. We used to never release that unless somebody invested $3,000 extra dollars. We realized that this was dynamic, this was secret for you, to be able to have a slide template so you could use this slide template instead of create your own, and also the exact script. You record that in your voice, you listen to it while you drive around for 3 weeks, and all of a sudden you're going to be talking like I talk. Not with my voice, but your voice with the metaphors I use. And watch what happens. You're going to have a ton of confidence. Okay. So that brings the total value up to 45 grand. And this bonus is only available for those who go semi-annual or annual. Now, all of this should be a no-brainer. For those of you who want to have a brighter future, you want to dramatically increase your practice and become a pro. That's why we call it IUL Insider Pro. But the other bonus for the first 30 of you, and you better hurry on this one, I packaged up yesterday 30 cases of 10 Laser Fund books, and I am firing out those cases of Laser Fund books to those who are decisive in nature, because you're my kind of people, okay? And so be watching for that case of 10 Laser Fund books in addition to the starter kit and workbook, okay? And I want you to start using that to generate target premium so that you can get reimbursed your investment as soon as possible. So, as I said yesterday, when you invest in your future for this transformation, I want you to look back at this date in the calendar. That's why I want you to starburst it and look back at the defining moment. And when you go in here and you enter this information, you are enrolling in one of the most incredible mastermind groups that you will ever belong to. I assure you, you're going to be blown away. The community is unbelievable. So fill out that information and then choose annual. If you choose annual, way to go. You're my kind of people. If at a minimum, semi-annual, okay? And then I'll send you the case of books and you'll get all 3 bonuses. I want you to be looking for your case of 10 Laser Fund books, and I want to welcome you to the inside. I'm going to leave this QR code up here, and we're going to do a few minutes of Q&A. So get ready if you have questions. We ready to roll on Q&A?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audio check. Quick audio check. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me on the cameras. Audio check 1, 2. Yeah, there we go. Love it. Very good. Very good. Okay, let me see if I can get Emran on and do an audio check with him. Audio
mic
check. 1,
check.
2.
Yeah, mic check. Is everybody hear me? Is everybody okay? Thumbs up?
Thumbs up for Emran there. We got thumbs up. Yeah, I love it. Thank you, everybody.
Good.
The power of cameras on, everybody. I love it. This is great. Hey, welcome everybody to today's Q&A session. Emran and I are delighted to be here with you. We're going to go back to Doug in just a minute. He's just taking a quick break, and we're just going to do some Q&A, some details here. Obviously, some of you guys have questions, and we're here to answer them. So anything from the last few days, anything about case design, anything about products, anything about carriers, anything about obviously the pro program, anything about the marketing, anything that you have got questions about, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we'll address them from the chat there. And I'll cue Emran to respond to a few, and then I will also respond to a few as well. So go ahead and get those lined up in the chat, get them coming in. And we'll start going through these one by one. And as long as you guys are here asking questions, we'll be here to answer them. So I know there's a timer on the clock there, but we're here for you guys. So first one up, can we do monthly installments? So Bernadette, this is a great question. If you need to kind of work on payment terms or something like that, feel free to speak to somebody on our team. We take those on a case-by-case basis. As Doug was saying just a few minutes ago, generally speaking, we're looking for people who are committed to success. This is not a quick fix, jump in, jump out type of a strategy or a playbook that we're running. We're establishing skill sets. We're transforming the way you think about the business. Those things do take some time, and so we do kind of require a bit more of a commitment than just kind of a monthly payment. So, like I said, we take those case by case. We want to know more about you before we say yes or no to that question. So. Fill that form out. You can speak to somebody there. So Mercedes says, this was a lot of learning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Joe's asking Emran, he says, if I list a carrier, will he quickly rate it from 1 to 10?
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Joe, throw them in the chat. As I come across them in the questions there, we'll give them a quick 1 to 10. How about that? That's great. I love it. Lindy, what is the lowest monthly payment and age you have set up for an IUL? So Emran, what's the lowest payment and age that you set up for an IUL?
Okay, probably when I look at that, I'd probably go $200 a month on a child. Okay, on something that's probably under 20 and younger, looking at maybe $200 a month. There's a couple reasons for that. Not going below that. Some of that has to do with the flat admin fee. That also has to do with the fact that a lot of insurance carriers don't issue policies small enough to where $200 a month would actually allow you to still be maximum funding the policy. As you go up from age 20, you need to increase that from $200 a month. My general rule of thumb for most people is $500 a month. That's my general rule of thumb, is $500 a month. But then, that even goes up if you get into your 50s and 60s. That should really get up to bare minimum, should be more like $1,000, $1,500 a month in order to run something on that. So the older you get, the larger the minimum is to start an IUL. A max funded IUL. You can always have a underfunded IUL, but if you want a max funded IUL, those are kind of your parameters.
Yeah, love it, love it. And the thing I love about IUL, Emran, is it's so flexible, right? There's so many choices, so many ways to do it. Every client's in a different spot, right? So sometimes you're designing for low monthly payments, and there's an intention behind it, right? Like I started my policy minimum funding, now max funding, right? Like, so there's all kinds of ways that we can do this, and it's super flexible. But the key to having the flexibility, and this is where I think a lot of agents get themselves in trouble, is the flexibility creates a little bit of chaos in the way that people do things, right? And we see that every day with designs that come to us that we're like, this is your personal policy. This was not even done right. Like what's going on here, right? And so we see that all the time. So super scary there. So another question here, Raphael is asking, can you provide more details about the pro program? Yeah, this is what we've been talking about for the last little bit here with Doug. We have training, mentoring, software, and support all around how to structure IUL properly, how to market and sell it correctly, and scale your financial practice that way. So Lenko, this is for you, Emran. For case design, do you design cases for pastors? If so, what does it look like?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've designed several IULs. And even my office itself has designed several IULs for pastors. And doing it for themselves. We've even done some for their church, right, where the church owns the policy. But I've done it so I've done both for the individual, for the pastor, and then also for their church or congregation as well. But it looks exactly like I do for anybody else. It doesn't matter whether you're a pastor or if you're a CEO or whether you're just a W-2 normal employee, right? We look at it, we structure those. I'm like Monday morning, I said this even in my VIP session, you're going to see the principles, what I call the foundations of IUL, my favorite class that I teach. I'm teaching it Monday morning for all of my new members here. All my new members here, we're jumping on. That's 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. I actually even started an hour and a half before that to talk about, I'm going to walk you through our software. But at 8:30, I'm teaching my favorite class, which is the foundations of IUL. And when you understand those foundations of IUL, again, I don't care if it's a pastor, I don't care if it's a CEO, I don't care if it's a child, I don't care if it's who it is right there. You apply those correct principles to all cases to help you design an IUL correctly, no matter what this, even if it's a premium finance case, all of the principles apply across the board.
Yep. Love that. And hey, by the way, speaking of that call on Monday, we got a few people that are going to be joining us. Welcome, Michael and Chow and Joyce and Arena. Welcome to the Inside. It's a pleasure and honor to have you with us. We want to celebrate you and welcome you. So big shout out to you guys. We're honored to have you with us. So as you guys are joining, let us know in the chat. We want to make sure that we give you a shout out and welcome you into the Inside. It's a fun place to be, and we're excited to have you there. So next question here is, let's see, this is from Ray. He says, on Pro, how connected is the marketing? How easy is it to set up the funnels and automations? What is the suggested spend on ads? And are there templated ads? So Ray, great questions here. So how connected is the marketing? So our platform, it's based on Go High Level. If you're familiar with it, you can go get a Go High Level account, or you can get an account from us for exactly the same price. In fact, if you join Pro today at the annual or semi-annual level there, we actually don't charge you for the CRM. We actually give you the tools and the technology as a part of the package of the training and the mentoring and everything that we're doing there, right? And so how connected is it? That platform has probably got more marketing tools than you'll use in your career. It has everything in it. So if you can dream it up in terms of marketing, you can do it with that platform. As far as ease of setup, our team's all trained on it. Our team knows how to go in and tweak things, mess with things, get things up and running. We even have, when you join, we actually have a couple check boxes there for you to go ahead and accelerate that with what we call the rapid launch, where we actually go in and set it up with you one-on-one. So it's a completely done for you option there if you want to do that, or if you want to do it on your own. We have open office calls every single week that help you kind of go through that guide and everything there. So in addition to the onboarding, if you want to do the rapid launch optional add-on there, as well as the open office calls, and then as well on Tuesdays, I have a call as well for marketing and tools. So you can jump on with me and ask me some questions. Sometimes I'll pull up your account, tweak a couple things, fix a couple things, etc. And so we can get those things running. Now, on your last question here, Ray, what is the suggested spend on ads, and are there templated ads? Yes, there are templated ads that we have in the account. We have a thing called the ads launcher with a whole bunch of templates in there that members are using to go ahead and get leads. They can get the account set up, get everything going, and turn on leads and get leads coming in right away. What's the suggested spend? I generally say if you're not spending $50 a day on Facebook, you haven't started marketing yet. If you're not at least at that level. Okay, so if you can't do that, then there are other ways that I teach in the membership that will kind of help you get things kicked off there in terms of like marketing and getting connected with people and all that kind of stuff. It's different, right? In terms of spend, whether you're spending on ads or spending time to do marketing, you're spending something somewhere. So it's, just keep in mind, like everybody starts at different levels. So in terms of ads, we spend $40,000 just for one event. You know what I mean? So it's a very flexible and open kind of question that you're asking there. It's a very broad question you're asking there. For an individual, start at about $50 a day and then scale up from there as you kind of start finding your own capacities and whatnot. And I can guide you through that on our Tuesday calls as well there, Ray. So great question. Another one here from Victor. Why the auto pay? Why are we doing an automatic pay? Because a lot of members come in and they love the membership and they like to stay. So we turn on an auto pay automatically when you sign up. If you would like to turn that off, just email support at any time and it will be turned off. That is not a problem at all. And we have options too, right? So one of the questions that commonly gets asked, and I'm just kind of bundling this in, is what happens after 6 months? What happens after a year? Well, our goal is that you're successful enough that you're going up into masters, you're going on to certification, you're going on to the next tiers of what we have for you, right? If you're kind of like at a place where like, I'm good where I'm at, we actually have a CRM level only package, which is basically just the cost of the CRM. So all the work that you've put in, you get to keep, you don't take that away, all that kind of stuff. So lots of options in terms of how that works once you're done with that first term of your membership there. So Joe's asking Emran, he says, NLG, what's your 1 through 10 on NLG?
National Life Group?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're looking at a good, solid, all-around IUL that provides you with the, especially with some additional assurances, like some of those long-term care. NLG, their niche in the market is having some additional of those living benefit riders, right? And so if I'm not as concerned about those living benefit riders, then you can actually get a slightly cheaper internal cost structure outside of NLG, inside of some other carriers. But I would throw NLG. I mean, one, they tick a lot of the boxes that I like to see there. A mutual company, all sorts of different things that I love to see on there. So I would probably out of a top grade of 10, I'm probably going to put NLG probably right around 7.5, 7.5.
Nice. There we go. Love it. Let's see here. Mohammed's asking, I'm very much impressed by the 3-day event. I'm very brand new. I didn't even know what IUL stands for before joining. Do I need a license to practice? And are there any pre-qualifications? Yeah, so Mohammed, great question. Yeah, generally speaking, to sell IUL, you are going to need a life insurance license and go through that process there. So find a group that can help you with that is a great way to get started there. Okay, Michael, I got 28 more questions there, Emran. So we got a lot of people to go through. So we're going to go rapid fire on some of these now as we're kind of getting close to the timer here. So anyway, keep the questions coming though, as we're here to serve and here to help you guys. So Michael's asking, could somebody theoretically run their income into an IUL and then borrow against it to pay their monthly expenses? That way they continue to max fund the policy and get the compounding over time. Do we have a training on that? Do we talk about that, Emran?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things you're going to do right there is you join the inside. You're going to want to attend my laser banking series. Okay, my laser banking series is going to teach you the parameters around that. Now, can you do that? Yes, but not but you have to do it at a level. You can't go all in. An insurance company, just out of suitability purposes and suitability reasons, is not going to let you put 100% of your paycheck into the IUL. Now, do I wish I could do that? Yeah, I wish I could. I would do it all day long if I could actually do that. But they're not going to let you do that. So we're going to do it. We're going to teach you the parameters, the healthy parameters of where you should be at. If you are going to look at what I like to refer to as laser banking, where I'm max funding my IUL, but I'm also, I'm becoming my own banker, right? So if you want to see like the recommended parameters to do that and do it the right way, laser banking, and it is a portion of your income. You can't go all in. Most insurance companies are not going to let you go, put 100% of your paycheck straight into the IUL. But we'll show you how to figure out how much can you do and what can you do. So that's fun though. It's a sweet, fun strategy to run.
Love it. Okay, how do you explain the fact? This one's for you. I'm coming back to you. Maurice is saying, how do you explain the fact that some or most carriers lower their rates after a year or more? They change the cap rates, etc. I believe they can do that. So how do we address that?
Yeah, you bet. I mean, I've been around this. I've been doing the IUL longer than anybody on this call, right? Nobody's been doing IUL longer than our office. We've been around the block. I've seen when I first got in, we saw cap rates as high as 17%. They come back down, and then recently, actually, the last couple of years, they've come back up. And that is making sure, again, on the inside, I'm going to teach you guys a little bit more detail, and even in certification, we go even deeper on this as well. But what actually impacts caps? A lot of people think, oh, it's the whims of the insurance company. No, it's not. I mean, you're looking at what are the primary influencers on caps. Number one influencer is the interest rate environment. Higher interest rate environment or rising interest rates means you'll have rising caps. Okay, lowering of interest rates, right? We're seeing potentially what's being talked about right now. They've lowered rates a little bit this last year. They're talking about lowering them again this year. With those lowered, if that does occur this next year and that does happen, yeah, we could see caps kind of either level off or they could step down just a little bit. Then you look at other things like volatility of the market is the second biggest influencer. The more volatile the market, the lower the caps because the options are more expensive. The higher volatility, so the lower volatility, the higher the caps. And then the last thing you're going to look at is you want to look at the integrity of the insurance company. So that kind of goes with what the other gentleman asked about the National Life Group, for example. Them and other carriers. There's lots of carriers out there that have good integrity with their caps, and there's other carriers that flat out have no integrity with their caps. And that you're going to want to learn, and that's when we get into matrix and stuff and show you kind of that kind of stuff like that. Do they treat old customers similar to what they treat, or the exact same or similar to what they're treating new customers at? The big thing, again, I understand. I'll tell you exactly how the insurance companies are doing it by taking blocks of business that they have old money. That old money is invested at a particular rate, so the interest rate on that old money is dictating the caps. Whereas new money might be coming at a higher interest rate, so that new money has a different cap associated to it. So they segregate it out. So that's one thing to be aware of. But the bigger thing and that's okay. Insurance companies, I mean, that's always been going on for 150 years. I can deal with that. What I can't deal with are the insurance companies that are lowering older policies cap rates so they can subsidize and raise the caps on their new business to attract new customers. So what I do not, whenever I investigate an insurance company, if I'm writing business with them, I flat out, and I am reviewing their books, I'm reviewing their stuff, and I even ask them flat out, and I want to show them, what are your old caps at? Because I can tell you whether that old cap is at, whether it's at there because of old interest rates, or whether it's there because of your subsidizing. Right? I know what the old rates are. Nobody's been doing this longer than our offices. So I can tell you immediately whether you're subsidizing or not. And if you're subsidizing, I'm going to call you out on it, and you're not going to get my business. I don't like subsidizing. I don't deal with insurance companies that rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. Love it. I love the passion, man. It's so good. And hey, by the way, we got some passionate people that joined IU Insiders. We're going to give a quick shout out to Samir and Balewa and David and Victor. Congratulations. Welcome to the inside. Appreciate you guys joining us. We're so excited to work with you. And we'll see you guys on Monday. We kick off there. Our team's going to be reaching out to you, getting all the support, making sure you got access to everything, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're in for a ride of a life. So thanks for joining. We're excited to have you here. Okay. Annette's asking, is it possible to share the pro with a 2-person team? You can share it with one business partner. So if Annette, you have a business partner that you're working with, you can have up to 1 person. If you have a team, we actually have team pricing available. Reach out to us and we can actually schedule a time to go through that with you. And it's a pretty hefty discount if you've got the right team. So let us know. Join today if you'd like, and then we can adjust things on the fly there, or speak to our team ahead of time. We'll get you plugged in however needs for you. Okay. We're going to go rapid fire on a few of these here. What are the top questions to ask if a max funded IUL is structured correctly? If you read in the Laser Fund book, there's a whole series of questions. Which chapter is it? I think it's 10 or 11. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Maybe around 11, I think. It might be 11. The 11 questions to ask your financial advisor. Yeah. Yep. And or just plug in the information of the IUL auditor. Boom, done.
Yep, there you go. Let's see here. Not quite fine stable. Soon we'll join Brilliant Challenge. Thank you. Thank you, Judith. Appreciate that. Please recap the top 5 carriers recommended. Emran, what are your? Let's go with our top 3. Let's go with our top 3.
Okay. Again, it's about the agent, guys. It's not about the carrier. 85% of the result is determined in how it is structured properly, structured and funded. So again, it's not so much about the carrier. It's about you. But I don't know, top 3 carriers right now in my business. And again, they may not be everybody asks me, who's the best carrier? Ask me 15 years from now. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I do like carriers like, I like Mutual of Omaha. I like Nationwide. I like Pacific Life. I do like Allianz. I do like Minnesota Life. I do like, I mean, there's a whole handful of great companies out there. No. And again, it's more about how you structure the policy than the company itself.
Yeah. What's the way you say it, Aaron? Give me the worst company that you can come up with, and I will properly structure that policy, and I will outperform a poorly structured policy with the best carrier. Your carrier does not matter. You guys got to get, this is the number one question we get. It's the number one question we have to say, hey, stop asking that question. It's the wrong question. The right question is, what is the skill set that I need to have in order to properly structure the IUL? When you ask that question, folks, the answer is IUL Insiders. That's what our training is dedicated to, and that's what we're here for. So we invite you to scan that QR code, hit iulinsiderpro.com/yes if you're feeling ready to jump in. So let's go a couple more of these. What would you advise a teacher with a 403B or a 457 who doesn't have any idea? Joe, it's a very broad question to a very specific person. I think that's better suited for our case design call. We're missing a lot of context there. I don't know if you have anything else to say there, Emran, but I mean, we're not going to advise anything on a call like this.
Yeah, I mean, again, some additional context, and we'll do that in the case design call. I think even in the book, The Laser Fund, we even give an example of a teacher if you want to see one that has a 403B and stuff like that in the Laser Fund book as well.
Yeah. Patricia, if you start at $250, can you raise the payment later? Patricia, again, I'm going to go back to that same thing. It all depends on the structure. Have you structured the policy so that you can increase the payment later? If you structure it for $250 a month, then you've structured it for $250 a month. Emran, anything to add there?
Yeah, again, and if you're going to look at wanting to structure some elbow room, I like to call it elbow room in the future, we'll talk about the right kind of elbow room, because most people create way too much, and then you're sacrificing. What you don't want to do is you don't want to risk that $250 a month just for the opportunity to add more money. Okay, you can do that at a certain degree, but at a certain you cross a certain threshold to where now you're being detrimental to the $250. It'd be better to go ahead and just do phase 1 and phase 2, a policy now and a policy later.
Yeah, love it. Let's see here. I am under an FMO. How does that work? Do I have to add the company name and do contract carriers through my company? Yeah. So Joyce, whatever your FMO contract and agreements are there, some are more particular than others. We don't have anything to do with that. IUL Insiders is a training mastermind education company. So you can join IUL Insiders and run with your FMO all the same. You just need to comply with their contracts that you have with them. Ours is purely education to enhance what you're doing with that FMO. Okay.
We're going to make you successful with that FMO.
That's right. Ray, if you run into a client with a poorly structured IUL and they've had it for 5 to 8 years, how good or how bad or good is it to do a replacement since most IULs are more expensive in the front? What's your thought on replacements there, Emran?
I just did 2 or 3 of these on my case design this morning here. So we just looked at these and analyzed these. Several of these, I'll teach you what changes you can make to the IUL without having to replace it. And or if we are looking to replace it, how do we approach that so it's best fitting the client, right? So what's the best scenario for the client? Those are on a case-by-case scenario depending on how severely underfunded the policy is and what other structures there are there. But most times, a lot of times, again, yesterday when I showed my stuff right there, a lot of those cases, I can make adjustments to those existing policies and move them from a grade of an F to even a D. And I can even bring up that one that yesterday I did that was an F, that very first policy. All we did is make internal adjustments. I taught the agent how to make adjustments, and we turned that into an A minus. I didn't get to an AA plus, but an A minus on an existing policy rather than trying to 1035 and start the fees over again was better. And so that's I'll teach you that. I'll teach you that on the inside. Come join me on the inside.
Far too many IUL replacers are going to the replacement strategy first, when if all they did was just develop some more expertise with the IUL, they could actually fix more IULs than just replace them, right? And it's a terrible thing because there's a lot of clients that are actually getting put in worse situations, or they're just getting caught. It's just costing them more money, right? And it's like, if you actually knew what you were doing, you could fix a lot of these things. But here we are. Another reason to join IUL Insiders, right? Okay.
Amen, brother.
All right. So let's see here. Where did we go? I lost track of my questions here. Oh, here we go. Michael, what is the max percentage of cash value that somebody can borrow from a policy? What's your thoughts there?
Depends on how young or how old the policy. The older the policy, the more you can grab. So early on, it's usually the general rule of thumb is in the early years, like 85% of the cash value. But later on, you can get up to 95%. So later on in the policy, you can get all the way up to 95%.
Good question. Daniel and Danielle, how often do you work with premium finance, and are there training modules specifically rated to the structure of those premium finance plans and how to determine when they are appropriate? Generally speaking, our book is traditional IUL. We actually don't dabble in premium finance a lot. We've done a few, but the problem with premium finance is you've got to outpace the interest on the financed premiums there, as well as just more complicated. It just takes so much more time and stuff. It's way simpler to just properly structure a policy. And Emran, you can probably share some numbers here of how much you can actually get into one of these policies and do some cool stuff there. So.
Yeah, you can. I mean, again, we've rescued a handful. We've rescued several, many premium finance policies. So the prince, if you want the premium finance case to work, you've got to apply what I teach you, right? So whenever I've done a premium finance, most of the time when I teach a client about max funding the policy, they look at it like, well, why am I borrowing money? Why don't I just use my own money? Well, exactly.
Yep.
Okay. But even those that do premium finance, I've had several of them come to us, and we have fixed or replaced their policies because they'll perform the premium finance, give it the best chance to succeed, and that's what we do.
Yep. Let's see here. Craig, he says, I'm in. I'm going to talk to the conversation team about getting a payment plan. I'm in. Love it, Craig. That's awesome. As well as Victor just joined. Welcome to the inside, both of you.
Welcome to the inside.
That is awesome. Bud, what is your Insta? Bud Heaton on Instagram. Carrier grade 1 through 10 NLG. We already said that, 7.5 right there. Maurice, why don't you all add after pay those services so we take advantage of those discounts? You get paid all at once. Yeah, we have we have a few of those, or there's a couple options. I think we use Klarna. If you speak to our team, they can help you with some of those options there. We just don't have it as a default on the front end. So let's see here. Trent, are there carriers you use offering monthly point-to-point crediting or shorter than annually? With that, are there carriers you're using that offer different point-to-point timeline strategies for different indexing credit allocations with the same IUL? For example, S&P in 1 year point-to-point and 40% in different index on 2 year point-to-point within the same IUL policy. Emma, that's a pretty advanced question, but I know nobody better than you to answer it.
It's a loaded question. The simple answer is yes. I mean, I'll look at the entire index portfolio, what the insurance company offers, and understand when I want to use. The key thing is understanding when you should be using certain indexes. Okay, it's not good enough just to go ahead and just diversify amongst everything they have. You can do that, and that's an amateur's way to approach the indexing. But we can teach you how to be dynamic about that. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard. But to understand when to use, like when should you be using monthly caps, monthly averages? When should you be using 1 years? When should you be using multi-years? All that kind of fun stuff comes into play right there. That's a constant weekly discussion in our mentoring calls. Everybody loves to ask that question. We love talking about it and answering that question.
Love it. Yeah, that case design call is awesome, guys. It's every week. There's always new changes, new indexes. Nationwide's coming out with a new product. Like we'll be on the top of all of that. So it's good stuff. All right, Lindy is asking, what if you get in the year and 6 months you want to enter masters or even certification? Can you switch to that without a cost? Yes, do it. There is a cost. It's not free, right? It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade because there's an additional service that's happening on the backside of that, right? So you're paying for training with Pro, you're paying for training with certification, you're paying for mastermind and training, coming to Salt Lake with masters and stuff like that. So some of you guys have even asked the question of like, what's the difference between Pro, certification, and masters? Let me just quickly address that. Pro is everything we've talked about during this challenge, right? Training, mentoring software for $4,000 for the year. Okay, very simple, very straightforward, and it's meant to be kind of a group setting. Now, if you want to take that and accelerate it, add certification. Okay, and we're going to get you the IUL training. You're going to go through the certification process the next 30, 45 days. You're going to get to spend a whole day with Emran learning about the IUL, learning about how to do it, versus a 6-month window with Pro. So you go fast. And if you want to accelerate your marketing and your sales processes and all that kind of stuff, come join me in Masters. I kind of head up the training and the teaching there. You also get access to Doug in addition to what you get on the Pro level. You also get access to Emran for in a smaller group setting for case design, some of those challenges as well. So Masters is really for scaling the business. If you hit a couple 100,000 in revenue on an annual basis, join us in Masters. It's a good fit for you to help you get to $500,000 or $1 million or more. Okay. If you're just kind of getting started, Pro is a great place to start. And if you want to accelerate that, certification is a great add-on to that. So that's kind of how the full stack of what we do kind of fits together, if you will. Okay. I got a bunch of questions here about carriers. We already addressed that a few times by now, so I'm going to kind of skip a few of these here. But I'm going to give a quick shout out to Raphael and Patrick, who joined us on the inside as well. Welcome to the inside, gentlemen. It's good to have you.
Welcome to the inside. I'll see you guys Monday morning, right?
Let's go. We're going to text you. We're going to get you all the stuff you need there. So let's see here. Carol, do I have to use the Pro CRM or can I maintain my own in the program? Yes, absolutely, Carol. If you have an existing system, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to enhance the wheels that you have, right? And if you don't have any wheels, then we'll give them to you. If you have some wheels, let me get out some chrome finish and some rags. We'll polish it up and make it even better. Okay, so that's 100% our goal there, Carol. Is we can help you do that. Now we may not be able to have access to everything. So in terms of support, you kind of have separate access, but we can get on a Zoom call and kind of help coach through some of those things as you have questions and stuff like that as well. So good stuff. Lucy, do you advise people not to take the free 401k match? Emran, thoughts there?
General rule of thumb is no, I do not coach them to do that. Generally speaking, the general rule of thumb is if they're getting a match, put it up to the match. What I do coach them on is if they're putting in over and above the match. If they're putting in over and above the match, we'll reroute that. Now there's exceptions to that rule. Again, I had a client where he looked at the 45-year history of their 401k plan and hated it. He was just like, dude, this 401k plan stinks. Even with my employer's match, all of my coworkers that have been there in this big company for much longer, the average return on their 401k plan was about 2.5%. And so compound interest is more powerful than an extra contribution. So that was like, say for example, that was an example of an exception to the rule. But the general rule of thumb is no, go ahead and put it up to your match. Absolutely put it up to the match. Just reroute anything over and above the match. That's the general rule of thumb. If
you think about it too, like the match, all the match is really doing is it's covering your tax bill for later. Like it's literally just covering the tax bill for later. If you really run the numbers on it, you know what I mean? You got to go net on this stuff. And so, yeah. Rich says, awesome training. I 10X my understanding of IUL. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate the kind words. We're here to serve and that's what we want to do. So love it. Where can I get the Laser Fund book? You can go to laserfund.com. I'm just going rapid fire here, guys, because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. There we go. Digital copies of Laser Fund. Yeah, there's a couple of answers there in the chat. Let's see here. That was a repeat question there. Are your case design videos in the library for insiders or only for pros? Yes. All of our calls are recorded and archived. So if you can't make the calls and whatnot, they go into the archive within 24 hours, within the day. Generally speaking, if we do a call in the morning, it is up by the afternoon. Okay, our Dave, our broadcast engineer on the backside of this, he is a rock star at making that happen, and so it is there available for you, and so you can watch it anytime at your convenience. Guys, we have 5 years of archived case designs. What that means is any situation that you can come across with IUL, we have covered it, taught it, illustrated it, designed it in that case design call. So can I design a policy for a pastor? 100%. It's in the library, right? Now, can I do one for a business owner? Yes, 100%. It's in the library. We've done them. They're all there. Okay. Let's see here. What is in the Aaron mini course? Aaron mini course is going to be a little bit of a different one. That one's from the 3-dimensional wealth stuff. That one's more for consumers. This trading over here, this pro stuff is totally different than what you're seeing over there on the YouTube side and with some of those. So, who do I contact for payment options? Again, that link is in the chat there. You speak to our team. We'll get you covered there. See what we can do there. How much is certification? So certification is $9,000 off the street. Okay, so $9,000 off the street is what that is. If you're one of our pro members, we have special pricing for that as an add-on to your pro membership. Okay, let's see here. Take the mat. Perfect. Okay, we hit the bottom of the list here, Emron. We get the bottom of the list. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
We went a little
Like
over
you want
time.
certification, again, get membership pricing. If you want certification, get membership pricing. Get in, join, and then get access to our membership pricing for certification.
Love it. Hey guys, so we're gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna give some final thoughts. Everyone's gonna have final thoughts, and we're gonna go back to Doug. So stay tuned for just one more minute here. Emron, final thoughts.
Again, super excited to be with everybody and to be able to take you on this journey that I started decades ago with my own dad, and really understanding the foundations of IUL. Like I mentioned, it's all about seizing the opportunity. We live in a country, we live in a land of opportunity. I mentioned to it in my VIP session the other day, $40 trillion in IRAs and 401ks. That is a massive opportunity. These people are looking for answers to their tax trap. $55 trillion is going to be transferred from one generation to the next generation over the course of the next 15 years. Folks, there is no lack about what is there is, do you have the capability? Are you going to invest in you so that you have the capability to seize the opportunity that is right here in front of us? And that's what it is. Investing in yourself. You are the best investment you can take right there. And then not only will it help you make money, it's going to make you money, and it's also going to help you save a ton of money. What I don't want to do is I don't want to see anybody here from this day forward receiving chargebacks because people don't like their IULs or going to their insurance company and canceling those policies. Okay, 99% retention. That's what we've got. That's what you're going to have. And that's what we see as the ability right there, is to have that kind of success. So again, excited to see those on the inside. Thank you for those of you who have already invested in yourselves. I'm excited to see you and watch you and witness your journey moving forward.
Love it. Guys, my final note here is this. It's very simple. We see cases like Kyle Busch. We see people on the internet talking about how they're gonna replace all these IULs, and you keep doing that, and we're gonna keep replacing them, and They wouldn't have this story, guys. Think about this for just a second with me. They would not be able to do that if there was sufficient training in the industry to empower agents to do it right. If agents were doing it right, that wouldn't be a conversation. But yet here we are, 97% of policies improperly structured, 97% of clients buying IUL getting put in a worse situation because agents are undertrained and insufficiently educated on the merits of IUL. Okay, this is why IUL insiders exist, because there is a massive gap in training and a massive gap in what agents and insurance professionals need to properly do IUL that's truly in the best interest of the clients. Okay, So with that, I implore you, join us in IUL Insiders, iulinsiderpro.com/yes. Get on the inside. We would love to help you, train you, and answer all your questions so that you can be the one who's changing the narrative of IUL sucks and IUL is terrible to IUL is one of the most sophisticated and powerful financial vehicles in history. So I implore you, with that in mind, thank you everybody for attending the Q&A session. We're going to go back over to Doug, and he's going to wrap us up for the event. Thank you, everybody.
Let's go ahead and put my PowerPoint still back up on the screen here real quickly here. Folks, a couple of comments based upon those last few questions. IUL Insiders end up becoming the most educated expert in IUL with their IMOs and with their carriers. We talked about why don't the carriers and the insurance companies do this. Folks, you can't believe how many times people call the clerical people who run illustrations with the insurance company, and you can't believe it. The clerical people go, well, who would pay this much money if they don't need to into this life insurance policy? They don't even get it, okay? And carriers cannot invest in training their clerical people on max funded IUL. So they rely on the IMOs, but the IMOs, most of them are structuring them wrong, okay? So that's why I wanted to create IUL Insiders to separate the sheep from the goats. Why? Okay, I have about 650,000 plus views a month on my YouTube channel. Guess what the most common question is by viewers? Doug, I now get it, okay? This guy that called on Monday and said, I get it. I want to sock away $12 million a year for 5 years. And I know you're probably the only ones who know how to do this. Please point me to who I can talk to. We want your name on our map, so that if you're in Chicago or Atlanta or I don't care where you're at, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that people will be able to find you and that they know that you know what you're talking about so that it's done correctly. And so that's what I'm very passionate about. IUL is too good of a financial product to have too many loose cannons out there buggering it up. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping you to become a professional and have you be on the inside. You stay with your IMO and you'll probably end up being the #1 agent in production, but also the expert with your IMO. It's happened over and over and over again with our IUL Insiders. Now, also the regulators. The regulators want to know. But most important, the public. The public wants to know, but the carriers want to know, okay, Doug, who has been trained on maximum funding IUL? And then the IMOs want to know, but the regulators want to know, but the general public is saying, Doug, I can tell my IUL policy isn't anywhere close to performing like you talk about on this YouTube channel. I looked at the illustration on my IUL, and it doesn't even come close to having cash value equal to the premiums I paid in for the first 20 years. Yeah. That's what happens most of the time. So go through and really think about your future. What do you want in your future? Do you want to just be a producer, okay, and sell a commodity? Or do you want to be a professional and provide a meaningful transformation? All of these three critical components of the three-legged stool, touching all three of those bases. When you see that transformation, you're going to be blown away. But the bonuses, the marketing templates, the simulator, and the bucket builder, and the auditor tool, and the carrier matrix, the slide deck, the scripts. I mean, heavens. When you get that, and then you have the ability to be able to lend out laser fund books and assign people so that they can read and learn, or they can watch and learn, or they can listen and learn. When you get mentored every month, and you begin to implement, that's why I said, those of you that have joined, welcome. Welcome. You're my kind of people, okay? Especially those who are going annual. Welcome to the inside. I want 6 months from now, a year from now, to look back at whatever you put up on the wall, today's calendar, and how you did a starburst and you colored in on this date, This is the defining moment when all of a sudden things started to change and all kinds of opportunities opened up that you didn't even dream was possible for your career. And I've only given you a taste, the tip of the iceberg. You wait until you get mentored every week and every month in IUL Insiders, and you start joining. I want all of you. I want to meet all of you in person, have a photo taken with you so you can use that in your marketing. There's so many things that come along with IUL Insiders as you get engaged. So those of you who have joined, welcome to the inside. Make sure you invest in your future. And you're my kind of people. Remember, Think and Grow Rich. What were the common characteristics? They had a specialized knowledge. They were entrepreneurial. They belonged to a mastermind team. You will begin to make friends with some of the top entrepreneurial IUL agents in America as you join IUL and you begin to associate. Those are the benefits that we haven't even talked about. The camaraderie is unbelievable. So be looking for your starter kit next week. And those of you, the first 30 who joined, make sure you look for your case of 10 Laser Fund books. And we want to welcome you to the inside and also to your bigger, brighter future. Thanks again. Appreciate. We will become very special friends in the future, I assure you. Take care. Have a great week. Make your decision.
The information and the confidence that I have built over the last couple of months has been just amazing. I feel more confident every day that I am doing the best for my clients and that I'm really helping change the trajectory of many people's lives.
I joined IUL Insiders because I wanted to learn more about max funded IULs. I'm very sold on the concept. I love what you can do with it for yourself, and I wanted to share that opportunity with other people.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Camaro. I've been part of IUL Insiders for about 8 months now. And there are three main things that I've gotten from this program in the short 8 months that I've been here. Number one is how to truly structure a policy and the plan for the benefit of the client. You know, I've come from an experience where I've been taught how to sell the IUL, but not how to truly maximize it for the benefit of the client. So that's been far a benefit, and it feels rewarding to help people by doing the best thing for them. Number two, how to market the product properly, how to leverage webinars and utilize the power of marketing to reach more people. And number three is how to truly have more quality clients. You know, once you understand how this thing works and how to really get out there and help people, how to target the right audience, you end up having better quality clients that stick for you for life and give you referrals and overall have a more profitable business. Well, thank you, IUL Insiders.
Hey guys, my name is James Hamilton. Shooting a quick video for Doug Andrews and the IUL Insiders. Hey, I'm a whole life guy. I've been a whole life guy for a long time. College planning is my vertical. So I use my whole life policies to lock in the guarantees when it comes to parents being able to pay less out of pocket for college. And so thinking that the whole life policies were the best way to do that. By joining the IUL Insiders for a couple of months now, I now realize that I can use this index universal life policy for multiple uses, which is absolutely phenomenal. Also, they've been giving me an education that's absolutely through the roof. And so, guys, I appreciated the opportunity to be able to work with you guys. Now my client files are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm using the index universal life as the main chastity now. So look forward to opportunity in the future. Take care. Have a good day.
Hello, potential new IUL Insiders. My name is Matt Schloss, as I'm Money Mythbuster Online. And this IUL Insider platform has completely transformed my life. I went from making 15 grand a year in this industry on my personal production to now 52 grand in the last 2.5 months. The knowledge you're going to get, the conviction level that you're going to get from learning all this from Doug and the team is priceless. So dive in, get into this class, learn from one of the best in the entire industry, and it could potentially change your life if you apply it the way that they teach us. Doug, Imran, Bud, I can't thank you guys enough for this. You're absolutely changing a lot of lives. and you're transforming the industry with this class that you guys have put together and everything that comes along with it. Bar none, worth every dollar I put into it. And I'm glad to be one of the beta users, and I'm going to be here for a long time. So guys, hope you enjoy and have a good day.
Hello, my name is Melanie Sikma, and I joined IUL Insiders about 5 or 6 months ago. I joined because I had the hardest time learning and discovering ways on how to structure IULs properly for my clients. I work with really high net worth clients, and so I want to make sure I set those up properly. After joining IUL Insiders, after just a few months, I feel so much more confident, so much more excited to be able to set my clients' policies up properly, and knowing that I'm going to get them a good return.
I've been a financial educator for the past 6+ years. And one of the programs that I am a part of is a program called IUL Insiders with Doug Andrew, Aaron Andrew, Emron Andrew. But they have been a phenomenal group of people that has helped me and others grow our business, grow our teams, and also learn to communicate effectively when we are doing our marketing calls. It's not just about the income you make. It's about the impact that you make on the clients and the people who also help that become a part of the community in which you are hosting. I just want to say, if anybody's choosing to become a part of IUL Insiders in the future, it is definitely a program that you would want to be a part of for you to grow culturally, for you to grow mentally, and also for you to just have different techniques to learn that you may not know about from who you may be with currently already.
IUL Insiders definitely changed the game because for me, when I talk to clients, my confidence comes from knowing the product. And if they have a question, I can answer it.
My involvement with the IUL Insiders has been freaking phenomenal. I'm learning so much information, getting so much clarity, learning how to articulate the concept of an IUL in a way that is truly, truly making an impact on myself. And I feel that's better enabling me to educate my clients.
I know more about IULs than I have ever known in my past. So thank you, Doug.
I even read Doug's book, The Laser Fund, and could not get answers to. I talked to insurance companies, get transferred time and time again, trying to get answers to these things, and I could not get them. But I needed the answers if I was going to be providing this sort of service that I wanted to my clients. It was an absolute no-brainer to join IUL Insiders. I just renewed. It was probably the easiest sale they ever got because I knew what I needed and I knew what they had. So I got it. It was an absolute no-brainer to join IUL Insiders. I just renewed. It was probably the easiest sale they ever got because I knew what I needed and I knew what they had. So I got it.
I just want to take a minute to brag a little bit about my great experience I've been having with IUL Insiders and Doug Andrew especially. I'm a new insurance agent, brand new, learned everything from scratch. So when I started this process, I felt very overwhelmed because I didn't know anything. I'm basically saving years and years of trial and error by joining the IUL Insiders with Doug Andrews and his team. I just feel so thankful. I've learned things I didn't know I needed, whether it's in my personal life, my professional life, or also my spiritual life.
This book is what started it all for me, the free copy that I got just from attending one of his online webinars. And that was the beginning of a whole new career for me.
Hey there, Nicholas Early from Oklahoma City. So I'm actually a insurance broker. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the guys over at IUL Insiders. You know, it's a community of like-minded folks that Doug Andrews has put together to help people make more sales when it comes to helping folks in the U.S. get an IUL in place and increase the premiums they're doing. One of the most incredible pieces about it is the technology and the help and support that his team has on marketing and branding. I've finally been able to address some of the complicated, what seems like daunting tasks when it comes to getting those automations and systems in place in your business. I just wanted to tell you about that and help you get over the fence if you're thinking about working with Doug or you need some help with scaling your operations when it comes to the insurance industry and stuff like that. Definitely take a closer look at it and give them a shot at your business. See if they can do something to help you out because it's definitely been beneficial.
Taking it from 1,072 annualized premium, working with mortgage protection clients
to upwards of 35,000 in annualized premium, introducing IULs and annuities to our clients. So thank you so much for revolutionizing our business and our life.
At one time, it's like a myth to be able to find a professional, perhaps a good friend, who has the knowledge, experience, and the know-how in implementing financial strategies and is willing to share those knowledge and experiences with you.
It's a community of like-minded folks that Doug Andrews has put together to help people make more sales when it comes to